Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Up more than 2% yesterday, up more than 2% this morning. Live from New York City. Good morning, good morning. The countdown to the open starts right now.
Everything you need to get set for the start of U.S. trading. This is Bloomberg, The Open, with Jonathan Farrow.
Live from New York, we begin with the big issue, mounting signs of capitulation.
What is happening now is very extreme.
Companies are battening down the hatches and getting ready for choppier times.
You're seeing very strong bearish trends across multiple asset classes.
Broadly bearish outlook for risk assets.
Something that for most people is very uncomfortable.
When I look at the earning analyst estimates, they're still too high.
Expectations coming down. That should be the next shoe that drops. We need to see some of that weakness coming through.
If you really start thinking about what's going on in the U.S. economy,
the Fed is trying to hike and crack the economy.
We've seen the market sell off a lot.
If we're not bottoming out, we're sort of finding a bottom.
That potential capitulation.
Nobody ever nails it on the exact day, and if they do, they're lucky.
These signs of capitulation are building. That's the read from Bank of America's latest fund manager survey. For more, let's get to Bloomberg's Taylor Riggs. Hey, Taylor.
And it's always a great survey, John. When you think about capitulation, some of these one-sided trades are what really has been built into the market. A lot of this has been a drop in market liquidity that the survey has noted, the same number that looking at a weaker economy, inflation that's going to be falling in the next 12 months, 83% looking at global profits to worsen over the next 12 months. So all of that is signs of some of these one-sided trades and what is built in. The most crowded trades, John, you could have guessed this, right? Long dollar, long ESG, long oil. Long dollar means short EM and unfortunately short EU equities as well, as you're thinking about some of the economic and recessionary environments on the way as well. Take a look, though, at some of the tail risks, John, because it's always the left tail, the type 2 error, how to not lose money. That is the key focus. As we know, it is all about inflation. It's all about hawkish central banks, what that error might look like. And again, sort of those deep global recessions, what that means for the big Fed pivot and making sure that inflation is under control. If we're also looking at sort of a big inflationary environment, the left tail risks is what you have to look out for. Finally, John, it always comes back to the Fed, right? And some of the big macro outlooks. Where do we see the terminal rate? Where do you see the Fed going to and holding at and pausing before a cut on the end? As you can see, a lot of this has been raising expectations from maybe now 4.25%, 4.5%, even 5% for some big terminal rates here. So that really is going to be the key for the equities going forward.
Hey, Taylor, wonderful. As always, Taylor Riggs there breaking it down. Michael Hartnett and the team over at Bank of America. Here's the quote for you. It screams macro capitulation, investor capitulation, the start of policy capitulation. He points to the cash levels, 6.3%. The highest since April 2001. With us now, Kelsey Barrow of JP Morgan and PGIM's Greg Peters. Kelsey, first to you. Are we seeing macro capitulation, investor capitulation, and the start of policy capitulation?
So where I would push back on that assessment is policy capitulation. I think when I look at what's been happening in the gilt market, which has really been driving global market sentiment, the one thing that I really have taken away is that the BOE has never backed down. They are continuing on with QT. We think that's going to happen at the end of the month. And when we look at the big picture, the fundamental data in the US is still suggesting that the Fed needs to continue to push on with rate hikes and QT. What the market has been really struggling with is this risk of financial stability and this idea that the Fed is going to pause because financial stability risks are rising. And what I would say to that is there's two things here. There's cost of liquidity and there's access to liquidity. Right now, with the cost of liquidity, it's going up. That's monetary policy. That's what the Fed and other central banks want. Access to liquidity, you may not like the level that you can raise liquidity, but you can still get it. As long as that access to liquidity is open, central banks are comfortable with financial stability and they can continue on with their path of hiking rates and removing accommodation.
Greg Peters, do you agree?
Well, so I think it's way too early to say capitulation. I mean, I think that's heroic in many different respects. I mean, we're not even close to a recession that everyone's predicting. Once again, basic principles, Jonathan. I've yet to see markets rally, risk markets rally, heading into a recession. So to me, I think it's really quite too early. And as it's been the entire year, hope springs eternal, and everyone's looking for the turn and been finding it the entire way.
Not finding it in the banks right now. Just listening to the Wall Street chiefs on the US economy. Greg, this is what they've got to say. Brian Moynihan at Bank of America, consumers are spending, they have money. JP Morgan's Jamie Dimon, consumers are in very good shape. Jane Fraser over at Citi, the US economy remains relatively resilient. What are we learning about now that tells us something about the future, Greg, about the state of this economy and how it can deal with a downturn?
Yeah, so the underpinnings of the economy here in the U.S. is really quite robust. The consumer is humming along. Wages are up, obviously not keeping up with inflation, but the nominal growth matters a lot for the economy, and I think we forget that sometimes. So what that means to me ultimately is that the Fed has to do more to slow down the demand side. And so if anything, this is a good news, bad news story. The good news is the economy is doing well, consumers are doing well at all. But the bad news is the Fed has to do more in order to quell that underlying inflation that comes with it. And so it raises the specter of a hard landing, I think, as a consequence.
Kelsey, you call a recession inevitable. Why is it inevitable?
Well, I would agree with what Greg is saying in terms of the Fed needing to do more. And unfortunately, because the Fed needs to do more, they need to keep policy restrictive for longer. The risk of a hard landing in that scenario just goes up. So when I look at the last CPI report, you see core CPI 6.6%, but the 6-month run rate is even faster than that. So we've had 300 basis points of tightening, and inflation is actually still accelerating. So when I look at fixed income valuations right now, I see very high yields, but I see spreads that are still very complacent to that risk of recession. And so, where we're most cautious is on that higher or on that lower quality high yield company that is still going to face a lot of trouble as the Fed pushes on.
Kelsey, I've said you say a few times you need to be patient here. Wait for spreads to get to maybe 750. I heard that from your colleague Bob Michael as well. What's special about 750 for high yield spreads?
So when we build up to those types of numbers, what we're thinking about is a couple things. One, where we expect defaults to move to in this cycle. And the second is the concept that markets tend to overshoot. So, even if you think that the default cycle this time around is going to be more modest, we know that likely the markets are going to overshoot. They're going to go a little bit further in that frenzy of really fully pricing in recession. And so that's the level that we're thinking we're getting to once we combine those two factors.
Greg, we had this discussion last week, didn't we? Spreads aren't screaming recession of 500 basis points. And then it's just really tempting to look at the yield that you can get right now in fixed income and say, forget the spread, just buy it. Greg, how do you navigate that particular situation?
Well, so you have to bifurcate the risk. I think that's what's happening, is that investors are looking at the overall yield, which is a repricing of the risk-free and even the liquidity in the marketplace. Credit spreads themselves remain arguably pretty tight, so they're just above the average. That 750, 800 on high yield harkens back to a time when once spreads get past 800 basis points, high yield investors have been rewarded historically for entering the fray. But I think it's really interesting that investors are conflating the yield versus spread risk. And so yields are up. That's great news, absolutely. But you haven't seen a repricing in the cyclical part of the market, the default risk part of the market. And so I think spreads are still too tight here.
When do you expect to see that adjustment, Greg? And what's going to get us there? What's going to lead us towards that further adjustment in fixed income, towards what you just explained?
So I think it's data-driven, not surprisingly. It's been fighting the entire time, as I mentioned before. So I think the data has to soften. You have to start to see earnings roll over, margins compress, and so it has to become a fundamental story. So as of right now, it's just been a central bank repricing story, not a fundamental story. So I do think at some point that has to occur. If the thesis is that central banks globally have to hike in order to contain inflation and thus slow down the economies and into a possible recession, then that has to filter through credit spreads. So I think it's just a matter of time. So I suspect, Jonathan, over the next 3 to 6 months.
Futures up big time this morning, up 2% on the S&P 500, up big time yesterday as well in the equity market. K.L.P, a question for you on the economic data. Just looking at the incoming information, maybe looking back to CPI last week. Is this market still responding to the incoming data in a way that you would anticipate?
So we've had strong CPI. We had the strong September jobs report. You know, I think what's been muddying the waters a little bit has been the moves in European and UK bond markets, which has been creating a lot of term premium volatility. So one thing that we've been noticing is as the BOE has been repriced, it's caused the belly of the yield curve to cheapen. And I think that's stopped some of the yield curve flattening momentum that we've been seeing. I think that's probably coming to an end here. So we've seen a lot of headline ping pong from the UK, but I think at this point, given what we've seen in terms of the walking back of the budget, gilt volatility can come down, and we can see some of that stabilization in global term premium, which can allow the yield curve in the U.S. to go back to that flattening trend and trade more with the domestic fundamentals, which again, strong labor market, high inflation, the Fed pushing forward with rate hikes, increasing recession risk, and that flatter yield curve.
The whole curve shifting lower this morning. Yields are lower by 4 basis points on a 10-year, 397 on a 2-year, down 3 or 4 basis points to about 440. K.L.P Barrow, Greg Peters sticking with us. K.L.P mentioned the UK coming up, a sharp U-turn on Trussonomics.
Now, I recognise we have made mistakes. I'm sorry for those mistakes, but I've fixed the mistakes.
That conversation up next.
Now, I recognise we have made mistakes. I'm sorry for those mistakes, but I've fixed the mistakes. I've appointed a new Chancellor. We have restored economic stability and fiscal discipline. And what I now want to do is go on and deliver for the public. We were elected on the 2019 manifesto. I'm determined to deliver on that.
The Prime Minister Liz Truss issuing a mea culpa following a U-turn on her economic plan. This coming amid a Financial Times report saying the Bank of England would also deliver a little bit of a U-turn and push back its plans to start QT. The Bank of England, a spokesperson for them, denying the report. The team coverage starts right now. Bloomberg's Guy Johnson in London alongside Lizzie Burden. Lizzie, this is getting more embarrassing by the day.
It is. Do you mean for the Financial Times or for Liz Truss?
Hey, Lizzie, you're taking that jab, not me.
The Bank of England has denied this report. You'll excuse me, I used to be a print reporter. But the Bank of England has denied this, but I have to say that it may not have yet decided to delay quantitative tightening. Doesn't mean it can't still happen. The problem with it is if they were to delay quantitative tightening, then they can't really be truly getting on with monetary tightening, and it makes the bank look as if it's beholden to fiscal policy. And Andrew Bailey at the IMF made very clear that he wants to get on with the job of inflation fighting. I was speaking to a former Bank of England policymaker last week, and interestingly, he was saying, he pointed out that the Monetary Policy Committee isn't voting on this QE measure, QT, for financial stability, and it's a bit of a grey area, the oversight of all of this, and it is impacting on inflation fighting, so perhaps that's a measure that the Treasury Select Committee needs to have a look at.
Guy, the intraday range on sterling again, cable, the low 112.56, the high 114.10. It's been one of those sessions again, Guy, all over the place.
Yeah, I think increasingly, though, this feels less about kind of what we've been worried about over the last few days. Yes, we're a little all over the place. Things are going to take a little while to settle down. But I think the broad brush kind of policy changes have happened. We heard from the Prime Minister. I do wonder, I'll take the other side of what Lizzie said. I do wonder whether the Bank of England is floating trial balloons at the moment. It did so maybe during the thick of the crisis when it talked about maybe extending the assistance that it was going to offer. And now maybe we've got some commentary around the possibility of QT being delayed. So I just wonder whether there is something going on here. It doesn't look particularly good for the FT, but nevertheless, I do wonder whether the Bank of England is just testing the temperature here. In terms of the ranges, yeah, I think they're calming down. I was talking to Van Rom again on our rates team, talking about what is happening here. Looks like the 2-year, probably the rally we've seen there is sort of fizzling out a little bit. I think you're probably seeing that across the curve, John. I think probably the situation in the UK is past its most volatile moment. I certainly hope that it is.
You hope? Did you see the YouGov poll this morning, a couple of hours ago? Most Tory members say Liz Truss should resign. Next line down.
Yeah.
Boris Johnson is the most popular successor. Lizzie Burden, can I get your response to that YouGov poll earlier this morning?
Well, we knew that Liz Truss was in office but not in power. Interestingly, now 2 newspapers have stopped backing Liz Truss, so even the right-wing press is turning against her. But she is almost safe in the knowledge that no Tory MP wants a general election, as that YouGov poll would suggest. They can't decide which candidate should take over from her. Sunak doesn't want to serve under Mordaunt. Mordaunt doesn't want to serve under Sunak. Hunt says that he doesn't want the leadership at all, even though Mordaunt and Sunak both look like they were auditioning for the top job in the Commons yesterday. And even if they could choose who would take over from Truss, the whole process of how to get there is even more hazy. So Truss at least can feel like she's safe for a little bit, but maybe there'll be another crisis which would jog them into action. That seems to be the only thing that could rock the boat at this stage. She just seems to be willing to delegate to her other ministers as long as she can cling on.
What a mess. Guy Johnson, Lizzie Burden, to the two of you, fantastic as always. Guy Johnson will pick things up in about 40 minutes from now. Cassie Barrow, the lessons of the last couple of weeks, looking over to the other side of the pond, what are they?
Well, I think that the two things that I've taken away from this crazy move that we've seen is that one, this term premium is not going away. So even though we've seen this walk back in the mini budget, we are not seeing a subsequent retracement in yields to the same extent that that we had pre the announcement. And at the same time, I think the other thing is on the Bank of England and their continued resolve towards QT. So we think that QT is still going to happen at the end of the month, but they may do a little bit to help us out. We think that they may tweak QT a little bit to put less pressure on the long end and do a bit of a twist QT to help out the market and alleviate some of the pain in the long end.
Greg, would you go with that too?
Yeah, I do. I still think it's very much of an isolated event here. I know many market participants are trying to think, is this a playbook for other jurisdictions, other central banks? I don't think that's the case. I think that's completely off, to be honest with you. You look at what's happening here in the U.S. We're, entering midterm elections, which is not really being talked about. I expect less fiscal coming out if there is a turn in the House and/or Senate. So to me, this is very isolated, but it's really difficult to get confidence back. And I think the UK is on this steady decline, unfortunately, and this is just one episode in that.
Well, for a moment, Greg, it was the tail wagging the dog, and it shook some things up in USIG as well. Did you take any advantage from what was taking place in the last couple of weeks off the back of how this one materialized?
Yeah, so I mean, that was the story. So with the UK LDI unwind, the liquidity that was needed and the selling pressures that we've seen globally, right? So, I mean, the collateral pool was outside the UK. It was in Europe and the US. And so we saw lots of bid lists and unwinds. And so, tactically, we and others did take advantage of that. And so I think that's the lesson here, in that you want to have enough liquidity to take advantage of these episodic events that actually kind of present opportunities. So we don't think it's over. We still think there's asset allocation changes, more to come on the UK LDI front. And I think that's the opportunity set, not these broad sweeping macro plays, but more of these idiosyncratic moves.
Kelsey, do you agree? Did you do the same thing in the last few weeks?
Volatility, it's hard, but it does also create opportunity and opportunity for alpha, for active managers. So we have absolutely been taking advantage of the swings in markets, of the risk on and the risk off, the periods that we have dislocations in order to find attractive opportunities and take advantage of them. And to do that, you need to have a nimble, active stance. You do need to have some cash available on hand to take advantage of those moments. But this is a market for active bond managers.
Cassie Barrow, Greg Peters, the two of you, just brilliant, as always. Two of the very best in fixed income. As we march towards the open and bound, just a monster move in the equity market. And the data pretty decent too. Upside surprise on industrial production, month over month up 0.4%. The survey 0.1. Manufacturing production up 0.4%. The survey 0.3. Futures up by more than 2%. Up next, the morning calls, and later, BlackRock's Kate Moore is not adding any equity exposure right here. Would she fade this move? We'll catch up with her in just a moment. From New York City this morning, good morning. This is Bloomberg. Stocks up, yields down. That's the story this morning. Good morning to you. About 20 seconds away from the open and bell. Equity futures elevated, kicking higher by more than 2% on the S&P. On the Nasdaq 100 up by 2.6%, building on some monster gains in Monday's session this Tuesday morning, advancing once again on the Russell by more than 2%. That's the price action in the equity market. That was your opening bell. Here's the price action in the bond market. Yields are lower by 2 basis points on a 10-year, 398.80. In the FX market, euro showing a little bit of strength at 98.67. Euro dollar positive, 0.25%. Crude lower by 1.4%, 84.26. We'll talk about another SPR release potentially later this week. We'll get to that in about 10 minutes' time. I need to talk about Goldman. That stock is up higher in early trading by more than 4%. The CEO, David Solomon, saying the following: this one is, quote, a challenging operating environment. Sonali Basak back with us for more. And Sonali, they've met that challenge.
I think we have to define challenging here. You're looking at trading figures up 11%, fixed income higher than everybody else on Wall Street by a percentage jump basis, and equities by revenue higher than its peers. Now remember, Morgan Stanley has traditionally led that business. JP Morgan won it last round, but now you're looking at Goldman take a little more share when you look at the equities business in a down market. Even with investment banking revenues down 57%, you have to look at advisory also, that is coming in at nearly $1 billion, which is pretty remarkable for an environment like this. It's really debt underwriting that missed on expectations, but you have to ask all the banks here, how much risk are they willing to take on? And do we have to watch when investment plans get crunched down in the wake of a very challenging environment, as we've been talking about? Look at this revenue breakdown, pretty remarkable here as well, because consumer and wealth now accounting for 20% of the business. Consumer revenues alone came in $100 million more than had been expected. Now, in the reorganization, what does that look like? What they've telegraphed is consumer operations are aligning a little bit more with the technology-focused businesses. They have that Apple partnership. They're focusing on transaction banking. Wealth is being brought into asset management. A new line of leaders being elevated, and a big change ahead for Goldman Sachs as we look to the reorganization, but no new targets yet set for those businesses. Here are those combined numbers there. We've been talking about it. The competitive pressure is on. You mentioned it this morning. Goldman's headcount is up 4%. So to the extent that you're seeing that crunch on Wall Street jobs, it's there, but it's not there in full.
Sonali, wrap it up. How would you grade the quarter? All the banks are in.
All the banks are in. It's a tough one. The consumer is more loved by the investor right now. But how do they feel in the middle of next year if Jamie Dimon's hurricane comes to fruition and the consumer gets crunched? That's the question. Investment banks are crunched too. Which one wins?
Stock is up right now, 3.9% for Goldman Sachs. Sonali, as always, fantastic over the last few days. Sonali Basak, our Wall Street correspondent. Goldman advancing. This equity market's higher by more than 2%. Every single industry group on my screen right now is positive. Consumer discretionary top of the pile up by 2.95%. Information technology up by 2.86%. The overall market looking at another second big day of gains on the S&P 500. Morgan Stanley's Andrew Sheets says this recent rally will be short-lived.
Maybe actually earnings season, after a lot of negative guidance, turns out okay, and you're into a window where seasonality for risk assets is often somewhat better. But big picture, you know, we still have growth that's going to be slowing over the next 3 to 6 months. We still have a lot of monetary policy tightening ahead of us. So I think the way to think about this is a bear market rally. It's short, it's sharp, it still matters, but the big picture hasn't changed, and there's still work to be done, I think, before we can say this bear market's over.
Kate Moore of BlackRock echoing that view and keeping her cash stockpiles high. She writes the following: the weakening economic environment and tighter financial conditions create an unfavorable setup, and we are not adding to equities yet. We have built a substantial balance of dry powder as a hedge in preparation for any macro inflection points in 2023. Kate, I'm pleased to say, joins us right now. Kate, I was going through the checklist of yours. Management commentary on labor, capex, supply chain management. For earnings so far, what are you learning?
You know, I think we still have to get through the bulk of earnings, John. We haven't learned that much yet. But it's going to be really, really challenging. Look, we have a world of economists out there who are all trying to sort through the data, to look into their crystal balls and forecast next year. And then you have corporate management teams who are saying, hey, my experience in the third quarter was not nearly as bad as I thought. You know, one data point, not necessarily related to earnings, that I really love, because I love reading these CFO surveys, and the Richmond Fed Duke Fuqua CFO survey, which was released for third quarter data, had some interesting tidbits. And one of them was companies did not report any deterioration in their own conditions second quarter to third quarter. It was actually still relatively elevated. And while there's a big gap between how companies think about the economy going into 2023 and how they feel about their own businesses, that gap has persisted for a couple quarters. So there's not been a big deterioration. And I think it's going to be hard for companies to sort of give us strong guidance one way or another when there are so many macro variables that are uncertain, as Andrew Sheets was just mentioning in that clip you played.
Okay, it's something about what we can learn about the president, what it tells us about the future. And I'll build on that. This is what we're learning about the president from Wall Street chiefs. Moynihan at Bank of America says consumers are spending. Diamond at JP Morgan says consumers are in very good shape. Jane Fraser at Citi says the US economy remains relatively resilient. What that's telling most people is that we're in a situation where there isn't a ton of excess, there's not much fragility, and if we get a downturn, it won't be a bad one. Now, what I heard this morning, Kate, that was interesting from Andrew Sheets and Morgan Stanley, said, yes, maybe in GDP, but perhaps not in earnings. Could you build on that? Do you think there's a clear distinction there that might emerge that we need to pay a bit more attention to?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Look, we would always like to take GDP and, you know, our forecast for GDP and kind of map it against earnings. But the truth of the matter is that, you know, over medium-term periods and even over short-term periods, the correlation between GDP growth and earnings growth is very, very light, in some cases non-existent. There sometimes is a better correlation or relationship between revenue growth, the top line, and GDP growth. But companies have a lot of levers to pull and use in order to engineer better earnings. And I would expect if, you know, revenue growth meaningfully weakens and the inflationary pressures across a whole variety of goods and services don't ease, companies will do things like reduce headcount, slow down investment in different parts of their businesses that are not as profitable, all to protect the E. So you can have a weaker economic environment and actually a solid earnings environment. And, you know, John, something you and I have talked about before that's also really important is the composition of the U.S. equity market, which is, you know, some of the companies that are most important on the earnings side are less economically sensitive than, say, smaller parts of the overall market cap for some of these indices.
So let's fold that into the inventory story. We've heard from Target, from Nike, from Micron, potentially GM and Ford, according to UBS. Kate, how influential is that kind of story to the way you think about this equity market more broadly?
Yeah, one of the challenges I have, John, is that you have some of these companies talking about more difficult inventory environments. They have, you know, over-ordered, or they got, you know, too much of one seasonal good, and they're going to look to liquidate. Now, on one hand, I'd say, like, that's great for holiday shoppers, maybe a great time to take advantage of deals. On the other hand, it's pretty hard to take the examples or the stories from specific companies and extrapolate it out to the entire industry group, even though sometimes that's how the market's trading. Sometimes it's very specific around the ordering, the purchasing, and the price and sales of that specific company, and not about all of the consumer. You mentioned a moment ago, John, how many data points from financial services, from credit card data and stuff, all suggesting the consumer is still in quite good shape.
Yeah.
And that's our expectation as well.
So, Kate, you talked about the macro inflection point in 2023. That the dry powder for now was for next year. Why is that? Why is next year the thing penciled in on the calendar and not the last few months of this year?
Well, look, the truth of the matter is, John, we have a lot of high conviction equity holdings in the portfolio. So it's not as if we have cut all of our risk and just said we're going to wait until the first quarter of 2023. What we do own, we think, is like are strong companies with huge free cash flow potential, will be able to maintain their margins through a tougher inflationary environment. But we've balanced that out with more cash so that we can be opportunistic. I agree, to the clip earlier with Andrew Sheets that this is more likely a bear market rally than something that's sustained. And while multiples have become more attractive, there's a lot of question around the E. And you can't say the market is unequivocally cheap at this point. So I think we'll be averaging our way into companies we like that we want to hold for longer periods of time. But there's no rush to say, we're breaking out here into a new bull market.
Okay, I wanted to finish with a quote from Marko Kolanovic over at JP Morgan. This is what he had to say. We trim the size of both our equity overweight and bond underweight, but remain overall overweight equities and commodities versus underweight bonds. This is the line I'd love your feedback on. Our commodity overweight continues to serve as a hedge for geopolitical risk and inflation, and we stay long the dollar as a hedge to a hawkish Fed. Can I pick up on the first piece of that last line, Kate? Your thoughts on a commodity overweight as a hedge for geopolitical risks and inflation, and specifically expressing that through the equity market?
Yeah, I mean, look, we have a very constructive view on commodities and resources in general, and have actually begun to even rebuild some positions where we had taken profits in this space earlier this year, or a couple months ago, I would say. The part that's not in Marco's note there that's really important is the strong fundamentals for these resource companies. Yes, I think some of the commodity stuff provides a good hedge against macro uncertainty and perhaps some geopolitical risk, but we're also talking about companies that have very, very, very strong balance sheets. In fact, almost no debt, where the supply-demand balance is very strong, where there are secular tailwinds in terms of the transition to new energy and the metals and resources that will are required for that transition. So there's a lot of fundamental reasons, in addition to the geopolitical and sort of volatility reasons, you'd want to own that space.
Kate, awesome to hear from you. As always, let's catch up before the end of the year. I'm sure we will. Kate Moore of BlackRock there. About 10 minutes into the session, equities up 2% on the S&P, the Nasdaq up by 2.2%. Really big two-day gain on the S&P 500 to kick off this trading week. So we've heard from Kate Moore, called it probably a bear market rally. Andrew Sheets of Morgan Stanley, probably a bear market rally. And Erin Brown of PIMCO said this.
I absolutely would fade it. I think that the market right now is just coming off of, very strong weakness over the past week. We see a little bit of a relief rally this morning, but I wouldn't extrapolate that this is, going to last a very long time. I still think that there's significant challenges ahead as we turn the corner into early next year that the market hasn't digested yet. Earnings estimates are too high, margins expectations are too high, and I don't think that equities are still, singing from the same hymn book that we see in the fixed income markets.
Pushing back against this equity market move, the S&P still higher by about 2 percentage points. Up next on this program, the Biden administration looking to take more action on gas prices.
He's worked so hard to get those gas prices down by more than $1 a gallon from the highest points that we have seen just a couple of months ago. And he'll continue to work on that.
That conversation up next.
This is Bloomberg's The Open. I'm Lisa Mateo, live in the principal room. Coming up, Rolls-Royce Motor CEO Torsten Muller-Atvos. That conversation at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. This is Bloomberg.
We understand that there are challenges that are in front of us here in this country. That is why the president has taken action to lower costs. He's worked so hard to get those gas prices down by more than $1 a gallon from the highest points that we have seen just a couple of months ago. And he'll continue to work on that.
President Biden looking to lower prices at the pump with midterms just 3 weeks away. This amid some recent reporting from Bloomberg revealing plans of another strategic reserve release to the tune of 10 to 15 million barrels of crude. Bloomberg's Josh Wingrove joins us now down in D.C. Josh, walk us through our latest reporting, please.
Yeah, Jennifer Jacobs, Jennifer DeLuey, and Ari Natter, our colleagues, John, are saying that they're going to announce, kind of re-announce, the pending release of that 10 to 15 million barrels, which is left over from the 180 million that they announced in the spring. Now, the big question would be whether they add stuff on top of that, either a new release or something else to make it look like they're going farther than they've gone before. Remember, in the spring, that 180 was supposed to get us till fall, when they said the private sector production would sort of, catch up and fill that million barrel a day gap. So, of course, after what has come since then is that OPEC Plus production cut, and it looks like they're kicking tires on what to do next. One of the economic aides, Jaron Bernstein, leaned pretty heavily over the weekend to the possibility that this is coming down the pipe. Now, of course, the midterms are the backdrop here. John, you know this, that the gas prices are ticking up a little bit, and polls tend to pretty closely track voter sentiment with gas prices. When gas prices go up, voters get mad at the president, so definitely a political lens to this one as they try to, in their view, stabilize the oil market at least.
Josh, as you know, the SPR is at a 4-decade low. Is there a conversation taking place down in D.C. about how exposed this might leave U.S. energy security next year, beyond the midterms, if this gets drained down any further from here?
A little bit of one, but not much. When I referred to Bernstein's comments, he went out of his way to say, look, it's still more than half full, so we have a little bit of wiggle room here still if they want to use it. Now, if it's just that 10 to 15, John, essentially, again, they're just re-announcing or committing to going to the full 180 that they'd announced in the spring. That's probably a different kettle of fish than if they really go above that 180 number. But, as you know, Republicans have started to sort of circle around this, and so we'll see whether they go at this particular issue. Joe Biden, in other words, has room to go still with draining the SPR, but it's kind of unclear how far he'll go without further sort of pouring gas on the fire that you talk about, saying, hey, this isn't for this.
Hey, Josh, awesome to catch up, buddy, as always. Josh Wingrove down in D.C. And to Josh's point, separately, we're still considering weighing limits on exports of fuel in the United States too. The internal deliberations, I understand, continue. President Biden downplaying the odds of a recession. The view from Bloomberg Economics say it's 100% going to happen for a U.S. recession to take place in the next 12 months. Anna Wong joins us right now from Bloomberg Economics. Anna Wong, 100% going to happen in the next 12 months. Why?
Well, in our model, we see a significantly increase in probability of recession compared to our last update. When we did our last update in August, it was only 65%. So what drove this increase in probability? 3 factors. One, housing. We saw a sharp fall in housing permits as sales fall and construction companies decided to hold off on building more houses. Second, tightening financial conditions. The 2-year, 10-year spread has widened. Also, we see widening in high yield spreads. Also, the third factor is just that households now have a poorer outlook about the future. And whenever they do that they will start to increase their savings to plan for rainy days, pulling back spending in today.
Anna, where are you and the team on the depth of said recession? Because what we often hear on shows like this one is short and shallow. Short in duration, shallow in depth. What are you guys saying?
Well, our baseline is still short and shallow, just because we do see a lot of buffers still. And for example, I told you before, the state and local government have a lot of cash. We're estimating up to possibly $780 billion. But then I do think that there's a risk that this could be a deep one too, just because that the number one single best predictor of how deep a recession is how long is the duration of the recession. And usually when the Fed fails to cut rates early on, and if the Fed does hold the rates higher for longer and decide not to cut in 2023 despite a recession, that could extend the length of the recession. And if that's the case, then it's possible that this recession, judging by the cumulative decline in GDP, could be rather deep.
Hey, Anna, thank you. Anna Wong of Bloomberg Economics. That note yesterday got a ton of attention. Equities right now up 2% on the S&P. The Nasdaq right now up 2.27%. A lot of Fed speak coming up a little bit later. You get it from Bostic, from Kashkari. Mike McKee's got to break that down. Morning, Mike.
Morning, John. Well, the problem for the markets is for years, the Fed said we're not going to raise rates until inflation goes over 2%. Right now, they're saying we're not going to cut rates until inflation starts to come down. but that's not a measure. How long is that going to take, and how far are they going to do? The markets are flying blind. Now, we know that policy works with a lag. You can see there that every time the Fed raises rates, inflation took a while to start coming back down, and it wasn't until we had a recession that happened. So is that what we're going to have to see this time? We do have a busy week of Fed speak. A lot of people on the calendar. But here's the problem with the calendar. A lot of those are introductory remarks, welcoming remarks, things like that. There's only a few people who are speaking actually about the economy going forward, including Kashkari today, as you mentioned, Charlie Evans Wednesday, Patrick Harker on Thursday. We do get the Beige Book on Wednesday, but what's the thing those three have in common? None of them are voters this year. So the markets are going to have to go into the blackout period not really knowing what the Fed is thinking about a terminal rate. They figure 75 for this meeting, but not a terminal rate. And here's what the market is reflecting there, that now we go up to 4.9%, basically 5% for a terminal rate, but two-year forwards don't come down. They really stay up high because nobody really knows where this is all going.
Mike McKee, one final question. President Bostic, he does speak today, contributing to the ongoing Fed ethics scandal of the last year or so. Mike, what have we learned about his personal situation, that particular situation, and what it means for the overall story for the Fed chair?
Well, basically, he assigned his trading to a third party who did not pay attention to the blackout rules and traded during those periods. He also miscalculated what his earnings were on his reporting forms. And so he had to admit that and correct all those. It doesn't seem like a huge issue because he didn't know these trades were being made during the blackout. But it does add to the sense of what's going on at the Fed, which can't be good for their credibility.
But the optics, not good at all over the last year for this Fed, that's for sure. Mike, thank you, buddy. Looking forward to the Fed speak, and I think many of you are looking forward to the quiet period as well that starts later this weekend. Let's get you to sector price action with a big move higher underway on the S&P, up by 1.8%. Here's Abby.
Indeed, John. We do have the S&P 500 up about 2%, up nearly 5% over the last 2 days, the best 2 days that we have had going back to October 4th. Leading the way, some of those growth sectors, including materials, discretionary, tech, industrials. On bottom, interestingly, energy is higher, but it's underperforming as oil's down. Now, over the last 5 days, it's a big risk on time, especially for financials, leading the way up 6.5%, really showing you that investors are pleased with earnings. Communication services, tech, discretionary, basically your mega caps, they are doing great. Yields down, we have all these big stocks up.
Abby, awesome, thank you. What a run. The Nasdaq too, the Nasdaq up by more than 2 percentage points. Monday, Tuesday, will these gains stick? Up next, your trading diary, live from New York. This is Bloomberg. 25 minutes into the session, stocks up, yields down, equities advanced by 1.6% on the S&P, up 1.8% on the Nasdaq. Your bond market taking shape looks like this: 2s, 10s and 30s, yields lower by 3 or 4 basis points on a 10-year, 397 on a 2-year, down by 3 or 4 basis points to about 440 after breaching 450 in last week's session. That's the story in the market, the price action. Here's your trading diary. President Biden speaking at noon Eastern, followed by Fed speak from President Kashkari and Bostic. Netflix reporting results after the closing bell. The Fed's Beige Book coming on Wednesday, plus more from Bullard and Evans, and Tesla reporting after the closing bell. And finally, another round of jobless claims on Thursday morning. Stock market up then by 1.8% on the S&P, and the Nasdaq up by 1.96. Tom Keene asked me to quote the Dow for you. I'll do just that. Up by 1.6%. From New York City, I'll be out the next couple of days. I'll see you Monday. Thank you for choosing Bloomberg TV. This was the countdown to the open. This is Bloomberg.
Audio Jungle.
Amazon Business honors Ricardo Gurgel, owner of Veggie Root Tavern. This week, Ricardo saved big and used Amazon Business to help his team buy commercial deep fryers at a quantity discount. Because even veggies can be fried.
I'm gonna need 2 orders of fried fiddleheads.
With business buying easier than before, Ricardo now uses his extra time to focus on growing something big. Buy smarter, dream bigger. Visit Amazon Business, your partner for smart business buying. Fiddleheads. Yum.
Dale un toque de otoño a tu closet con JCPenney, con hasta 40% de descuento en suéteres, jeans y accesorios para él y ella. Y espera, porque tenemos más estilos y opciones para ti. Encuentra jeans acampanados, el clásico pantalón negro, abrigos y blazers. Mezcla y combina nuestras versátiles marcas como St. John's Bay, Mutual Weave, A&A y más. Compra con estilo. JCPenney. Oferta válida hasta el 25 de octubre en selección de estilos. Aplican exclusiones. Detalles en la tienda jcp.com.
Hey everyone, I'm Braden Cruz, your host with Sooner Marketing Solutions, where my job is to figure out ways to get you attention.
Abel Rodriguez with ARC Outdoorsman, where we are creating and maintaining your outdoor living.
Chance Jones with Threaded Industries, where we are a clothing brand built upon giving back.
Stone Shoe, Stone Co Downflow, Seamless Guttering, Got Flow.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Brews and Business Podcast. I'm Braden Cruz with Sooner Marketing, streaming live at the Blue Studio. As always, well, actually, the last 2 times I haven't seen you, but welcome back to the Blue Studio. Abel Rodriguez with ARC Outdoorsman. What's up, man?
What's up, man? Kind of missed you guys.
I know.
Been a while.
We all missed you, too. Chance Jones with Threaded Industries. What's up?
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. And we have a very special guest. His name is Mason Thatcher. And today we're going to be talking about this crazy $100 story. What's going on, Mason? How are you?
What's up, my man? How are you doing? Excited to be here.
Doing good. It's a Friday. And so going into the weekend, hopefully going camping and stuff tomorrow and spending a little time with the family and stuff will be nice. But still got a few work things to do, as always. But
it's right, that Friday afternoon crunch.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
We're gonna lock it up, make it happen.
It's like 6, 7 o'clock comes around. It's like, come on, hurry, finish it up.
Gets it done.
Yeah,
it's good.
So, so you got this really cool. When you and me met at Nordagios, you had this really cool $100 story, and it was really inspiring. And I know it's probably not the only story we'll talk about today, but you got to tell these guys about that $100 story. Is it, or is there something else that you want to kick off with first?
No, that's perfect. We can kick it off with the heat right there. It's a good one.
I mean, just dive right in.
Can I ask for a quick prelude and just tell us what it is that you do, how you got into it, and then lead into that story, please.
Sure. Yeah. So, real estate investor. So I invest in real estate, single family, multifamily, owner apartment complex. Also do real estate wholesale as well. Kind of the whole package in there. The only thing I don't do is I'm not an agent, and I don't do Airbnb. Those are 2 things I refuse to do, don't want to do, never going to do. I leave that to those professionals to knock those out. So
seems a little crowded space anyways, doesn't it?
You know, I got a lot of friends right now with Airbnbs, and they're calling me like, hey, bro, do you want to buy this? I want to get rid of it. I want to get out. I want to get out of the single family space. Economy's changing. Things are happening. So for me, not a good spot. Don't want to be there. And so I'd let those guys do those things, and I'll buy their properties at a discounted rate if they want to sell it to me. So if you're listening, there you go. I'll buy it.
Nice.
So been in real estate off and on for a while, and that's where that $100 story comes from, right? And so I'll kind of explain what happened. You know, back early on in the early 2000s, I was in college, and I bought my first deal, my first house. And this is a crazy story in itself. In that house that I bought, so I'm renting a home from a guy, and he comes up and he goes, hey, I think I'm about to kick you out. What I need to do is I need to sell this house. I need to come up $14,000 to get out of a legal situation.
Oh, shoot.
So I'm like, oh man, this guy, crap. I don't want to move. How do I not move?
Yeah.
So it's like, listen, man, I do not want to move. I'm not leaving. I want to continue to rent here. What can I do to help you? He said, unless you know somebody who wants to buy this house across town and give me $14,000 for it, there's nothing I can do. You got to go. So I was like, let me see it. So I went over there and took a look at that property, and I'm like, dude, I want it. 14 grand. I'm all in. Let me do this deal. This is a great deal for me. So what I do is I go back to my school in college, and I'm like, hey, I need to get more student loans. So I hustle them into giving me a letter saying that they're going to give me an additional $14,000. So I go back to the guy. I'm like, hey, let me put a contract on your property. I got an extra $14,000 coming. He asked for proof of funds. I show him proof of funds from Northeastern State University. I'm like, hey, here's proof of funds that I'm going to be buying this house. He said, perfect. And so I put it on contract. I put it out for 45 days because that's how long it's going to take to get my loan.
Right.
During that time, I'm telling another buddy of mine about it. And his dad's there. His dad's like, oh, so you have a house here in Tahlequah and you're only paying 14 grand for it? I may be a player. Let me buy it. So I said, great, let me take you by it. So we go buy it. He's like, hey, listen, I don't think you're getting it for 14, but let me give you a deal. I'll give you double the money for it. I was like, what? And he goes, I'll give you double the money for it. If you buy it, I'll give you double the money. I was like, this is amazing, man. I'm about to make 14 grand. I mean, listen, I was working at Reese's, sacking groceries, bro. So like 14 grand was a lot of money. It's a big deal.
You're like, gold.
I was like, done. We're making it
Yeah.
happen. Yeah. So that's kind of how I got started into it. And after that, I made that $14,000 from him. I did a contract. I called the title company and I told them, I said, hey, listen, what's happening is I'm buying this property. Somebody else is buying it from me. And they said, oh, well, we do a thing called assignments. We can just assign that contract over to that person. So I never had to buy it. So I was able to cancel the student loans, do an assignment agreement, close on that deal, and I was able to get a $14,000 assignment. After that, I was hooked. I was like, all right, we're doing real estate. Like, I don't care. I'm quitting college. This is what we're doing. So I didn't quit college, but I'm going through it, and I started building a really strong portfolio. I graduated from college. I started working for a tech company, small tech company. They were paying me stupid money, could not leave that job, and they were giving me all the freedom in the world. I was a senior sales manager working with that tech company, building up good professionals. And on the side, I was building just a strong portfolio. Now, as things happened, 2007 financial crisis happened. We've all heard about that. We know that that's been a little bit of a challenge for a lot of folks during that time. So as that happened, I started to get into a situation as well with banks. I was doing the right thing, but I was over leveraged. I was buying, a house on a golf course. I was, had expensive cars, started buying Rolexes, started doing the things that kids do right now on the gram to flex. Like, oh, I got a $40,000 Rolex. Stupid. And I still had a day job during that time because I was like, I was scared of security. So even though I was making a good monthly and I had a good portfolio and I had a lot of money in the bank, I liked the security of doing it. And I loved the tech company I worked for. It was perfect. So the bank started calling the balances due. And when they call a balance due, what they say is, they say, due to a technicality, we need you to refinance this loan, either with us or with a different bank.
Right.
And they would find different types of ways. So I was doing a thing called subject to, which is subject to the bank, which is very popular now, not so popular then. Is a whole long process of how you do it. But basically, you can buy somebody's property from them without it ever being on your own loan or on your name. It's on them, but you have to go through the right process. If not, the bank can call it due, the balance due. So I had a lot of those come due. And what happened to me is, even though having a very large amount in the bank and having a great portfolio, I had to start selling properties because banks during that time, it wasn't that you were going to lose property because of rentals, but if they called the balance due, it was really hard to get a loan. It was hard to refinance those deals. So I wasn't able to refinance. And so I was having to call other investors to dig me out of a hole. And as that was happening, I was having to use the money I had in the bank to pay off the differences of these loans because of that. Sad story. It all comes down. I'm losing literally everything. I have this house in Midtown Tulsa that is a shit turd that I didn't want, that I had my like best friend living in. And to me at the time, I wanted a place where I could just go and kick it and relax. So I had one room that was an office that was away from everybody, and it was in a house, and he worked during the day. So it was like my one true getaway. So I lost everything except for that house and $100 bill. I had $100 to my name. And I had a girlfriend at the time. She's now my wife. We go to Walmart. and I give her the $100. And so before all this, in my childhood, I'd been homeless for a long time, a number of years, just because of my parents' bad decisions and things like that. So I knew what to buy. I knew what we were going to grab to eat. We were doing, potatoes. We were doing beans. We were doing rice. We weren't buying Hostess cakes. We were able to take that $100 and stretch that $100. So we get to Walmart. We're going through there. It's a whole pride issue for me. I'm emotional during it. I'm embarrassed. My girlfriend, which is now, again, my wife, had just lost her job at some like energy company doing marketing, or I say energy, it's like a mixed drink company. She had lost her job too, so she had no income. So we had the $100. We get up to the lady, the register, and it's time for us to pay. And she lost the $100. My girlfriend lost the $100.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'll drink to that one. In a panic. I'm like, holy shit. Like, the money we had, it's gone. So I look at the lady and said, okay, here's the deal. We had the money. We lost it. Can you check and see if anyone turned it in? And she's like, honey, this is Walmart. Nobody's turning in any money. What are you talking about? Especially $100. Right. And I was like, okay, great.
And in that type of economy as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, everyone's on food stamps, and, I couldn't get on food stamps. I couldn't get any assistance because I'd made so much money prior that there's just no way. I mean, I was just stuck. And so I said, listen, give me the intercom. Let me tell my story. Let me tell you where I'm from. Someone's going to give me that money. Someone's going to pay for my groceries. This is going to happen for me. And she's like, no, I can't do that. And a lady walked by and she heard me say that. And she goes, this lady left her phone number. And she said somebody lost money and they called it. She would give it to them. So I called the number. She goes, this is Grace. I was like, by the grace of God, you found my $100. I lost $100. Now, I don't know to this day if that's what she found. She could have found 5, a 10, a 20, but I started I didn't even give her a chance to tell me that she found 100 or she found $10 or $30 or 50. Right. I just started telling her about my life. I said, I can't find a job right now. I was an entrepreneur. My whole life is crushed. I'm giving this lady the gamut of how bad I feel like myself. I'm a loser. I have generational curses that are the same stuff's happening to me that happened to my family. This is bullshit. And I'm freaking out, right? In a panic mode.
Yeah.
So she brings me the $100, and that's when my life changed. That moment. I was like, either it's time for me to buckle up and make this happen again, and lower my standards and go take a corporate job again and start fighting for myself and being all about me again, or I can sit here and cry in the pity. So now what I do is I'll close a big deal. So I closed this apartment complex that we bought, the first one, and it was amazing, man. It was huge. We got a great deal on it. I mean, equity out the wazoo, and it was the perfect deal. And I literally held this deal together from the front to the back, even though I had partners on it. And I was pounding my chest. I'm like, dude, you're the man. Look at you. And when situations like that happen, dude, I grab my wallet and I pull out that $100. And I say, man, at one point in your life, all you were worth was $100. That's it. That's it. And you lost it.
Yeah.
Dude, have some class.
Yeah.
Be humble. It's okay. You're better than that. You've won before. It's okay. You're winning again. And then when the times are bad, you lose a deal. Contractor rips you off. Bank says no. Partners say no. You didn't get the deal you closed. Things didn't happen. And you feel like shit. Dude, I hate myself. Man, I suck. Dude, this is brutal. Why am I going through this? I pull out that same $100. I'm like, dude, at one point.
That was it.
That's all you had, dude. Look where you're at. You're in one of the nicest neighborhoods in Tulsa. You have a bank account better than most bank accounts. You have properties. You have life. You have a family. You have kids. Things are good, dude. Who cares? How many of these hundreds that you have right now that you lost last week?
Yeah, right.
Taking people to lunch or whatever. It's not a big deal. And so it keeps me humble. And that's my $100 story. I mean, that's kind of
it's so powerful. I mean, when he told me that, I was just as engaged as the second time hearing it around. And it's, we've talked about before being grateful or authentic, or, the whole point of this podcast and kind of sharing stories is to try to put things in perspective, right? Just because you have the Rolex, the Lamborghini, the Ferrari, the Porsche, whatever it is, in the, $10 million house or whatever, doesn't mean that you're, I don't know, you can quickly lose it, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean,
100%. Just as quick as you got it is as quick as you can lose it.
I'll tell you this. I've seen more guys go to zero than I've seen guys go to $1 million. And a million's relatively easy. I mean, $1 million today,
that's nothing.
I mean, that's a little bit of work.
That's nothing.
I mean, it's a touch of work.
It's a couple phone calls. It's yeah.
Well, I mean, it's
depending on the size of the deals and the frequency of it all, but
it's more than that. But it's not what it used to be. And I've seen more guys go to zero, who've had more than that, than guys make it to $1 million. And that's the crazy thing.
So what do you think separates the difference between the guys who go, that slow growth to $1 million, right? Versus what you see difference with the guys that lose it? What there's not going to be indicating things that happens to them per se, but in my perspective, the guys who make it to that $1 million, which, like you said, it's really not that hard nowadays. You were that guy. You had that feeling of where you weren't going to give up. And in my perspective, that's the difference between the guys who do lose it. In the aspect of, even in a situation where you were, in your eyes, you saw yourself worth $100, you had in your mind that potential to be a millionaire again, or to get to that point again. And I just want your perspective on that, more or less that same theory.
Yeah. So for me, I think the people who lose it and get it back quickly, or do get it back at some point, are the ones who understand the lesson in it. Everybody has a $100 story. All three of you have one. You may not know what it is yet. It may take time to figure it out, but everybody has a time where, dude, they were winning and they did not see the blind side.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't see getting smoked in the face. Mm-hmm. They didn't see getting choked out. But once you got choked out, what did you do? You panic, because everyone panics.
It's a natural response anyways, right?
Yeah. And then you have to see the beauty in it. Like, why did it happen? And for me, it was great that it happened. Like I said earlier, I was homeless as a kid. So like I was there, and I was from a very, excited thing, telling people, oh, look what I'm doing. I'm grinding. I was bragging about the amount of hours I was putting in a day.
That sounds terrible.
It's like, bro, I'm doing it's horrible. And I see dudes now, and I'm like, dude, that is not a flex.
No. Yeah.
Like, I got this guy right now. He's in the same industry. He's like, oh, dude, I put in 16 hours a day, bro. We're thugging. We're making it happen. We're getting paid. I'm like, dude, I don't want to invest with you. Yeah. Invest with you means I got to put 16 hours in a day.
Right.
You sound inefficient.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, give me the 2-3 hour a week, 2-3 hour a day thing. I'm good with that. Yeah. And please let that be like lunch in like an hour and a half a day. The other half of like hour and a half actually doing business, like then I'm down. Then I'm okay with it. So yeah, I would just say for me, it's the people who do lose are usually the people who go fast in the beginning. That's the exciting thing, because you go so fast, you don't know what to do. It's hard to make long decisions. You're looking at short-sightedness. You get over leveraged, right? So people that do move fast are the ones that come down the fastest. But there are guys and women who will find that $100 story in their life in that moment, and it's the defining moment for them to make a major change.
I like that a lot, because we were talking about this going sober earlier, right? That was all, and the changes don't have to last forever, right?
That's right.
But there's a time that I felt I needed to make a change. So I've been friends with these guys for quite a while, and I know they've also been in a similar position here recently, where they saw there was a time for a change, you know, and it just makes me think of how just the way we as business owners switch whenever we're in that panic mode. The reason we almost like the pain, you know, it doesn't ever get better, but you're almost like, I can get out of this. Watch, whenever I get out of this, I'm going to forget about this. There's going to be bigger problems to solve. And you almost like that itch, that pain to each one of these very small victories that technically we're having in the grand scheme of things. But to us, those are those big wins, those mountains we're climbing, you know, every week, every day, every month, whatever it is.
For some reason, over the last 3 months, I've been imagining myself as a rubber band. The stretch hurts. You're pulling it back, and keep going. You're like, okay, how much further can I pull this back? Ouch, 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 ouch. Right? And then eventually you're going to let go and you're going to jump forward. And then you're going to keep having to pull that rubber band every so often. And you may have small increments, but like in the grand scheme of things, I imagine myself as a rubber band. That sounds so funny to say though, right? But
no, dude, I love it.
That stretch is painful, but like hopefully I'm expecting to launch forward somehow, some way when things got to change and you're under pressure, right? Yeah.
Everyone's a clutch player. Everyone is. Everyone is. Either clutch, right? As a clutch player, you're either going to do good or you're going to buckle and you're going to do something else. I tell people in my life all the time, you got to get it or get it. Either get it or get out of here. You got to get it or get it. That's it. That's all we have. And the rubber band analogy is like the perfect one because you do have to stretch. You got to put in the reps. You got to pull back as far as you can, almost before that thing breaks. And then you let it go. And that's how you launch yourself.
Or get out.
or
it
get out.
Snaps and you're out.
Or
yeah.
snaps your face and you're out and it's done. It's over. So, yeah.
Man, it's almost hard to top that story. It's almost hard to even think about anything else to talk about. You're just, you know, I'm mesmerized when I keep telling you this before the podcast. I don't mean this as you're old, but you're our elder, right? You have that story and you've been able to, your mind is a lot sharper than ours.
Well, that goes to show just like what in 5 to 10 years with anybody that you meet, it doesn't have to be like what that kind of experience, that time, how fast things can move and the kind of different experiences that you can have. Right?
We were literally just talking about 10-year periods.
I know.
Before in the car ride over here, 10-year periods. And I look back on 10 years and I'm just like, I haven't done anything. I mean, I have. I've accomplished more in 26 years than a lot of people do in their entire lives. And I understand that. And I don't want to sound ungrateful or not humble, but I'm just like, I haven't done anything for the last 10 years. And I feel stagnant and it's on fire. Now I'm just like, I want to go out and go and go and go and go. And like you said, get it or get it.
Yeah, that's it. You know, I would definitely say that you have, I would go down and say 5 years. I mean, in retrospect of where you're at, I would say even less than that.
Yep. Honestly, yeah.
Because you're an entrepreneur and you have a business. So you got to think, what have I done in the last 6 months? Right? Because what happens is we put these 5, 10, 15, 20-year goals. Well, dude, if you do a 5-year goal and you miss it, dude, you missed it by a mile.
Exactly.
By a mile.
100%.
You didn't miss it by a couple. You didn't hit the goalpost. You missed it by a mile. So that's the challenge. We got to think in smaller increments.
Instead of thinking the increment of time of a year, maybe think of a month or a couple weeks and then set the goals for 2 weeks. Because once you make that first step, then it's easier to see your second step and your third step and fourth. And then momentum starts to build. And then you don't have to scope out 5 years because what you thought would take 5 years only took a year and a half.
Right. The old saying is you give a kid 30 days to clean up the room.
It's going to take 29 and a half.
That's right.
Yeah.
You give them a day, it's going to get done in a day.
Exactly.
So every goal that I have. And so I write down a to-do list literally every morning on a piece of paper like this of what I have to do. Now people go, let me put that in your schedule. And that's fine. If you gotta use your Outlook or whatever to keep your life together, I'm okay with that. Mine's in the car. I'll look, okay, 15 minutes, I got to be here. Yep. Right. And that's how I do. And I obviously use my Outlook too, but
I'm sure you actually have, I got a meeting at, it's this one 6:30 on Tuesday or whatever.
But I use that as a working document for me to be able to get through each day. And at the end of the day, I write down stuff like, dude, you killed this, you smashed this, you did okay with this. Do I have something left over? If I have something left over, I can't go to bed till it's done. Yeah. I got to knock it out. It's got to be done. And then I'll write down my to-do list for the next day. Yep. So mentally, once I'm already
prepared as soon as you wake up in the morning.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yeah.
So to me, time-sensitive goals are the only way that I can live my life because I don't want to fail like I did last time.
So do you think, I agree with you 100% because we've talked about the whole to-do list and how we manage our time, essentially is what we're doing, right? And it's funny because you have your own way of doing things, but again, it goes down to putting it on paper and sticking to it. And you can literally build your life if you just put it down on paper, right?
That's right.
But do you think, or how do you think you should work in conjunction with, I'm going to kind of jump back to what we were talking about 10 years earlier, right? And then you come to the conversation, you talked about 5-year goals or 5-year vision or whatever, right? And it's funny because I was thinking in the car, I was telling him how I'm getting a bunch of memories on Facebook of a car I used to have because I'm riding around in his car and it's like, oh man, I miss it so much. And if you look at it, it was all 5 years ago. All of those are 5 years ago memories. And then I start to think to myself, everyone says it and you don't necessarily really understand what they're saying, but your life is, and your choices you get to make today, we're very fortunate to be able to do these, to have these choices are a direct correlation to the choices you made 3 to 5 years ago. And I started to think to myself, it's like, man, I miss that car. I miss that feeling it gave me. And frankly, life has changed. I'm in a different season of life. But it just makes me think about when I was in that mindset. I wanted a business so bad. I just wanted a business and I wanted a successful business.
Do whatever you could to make it happen.
Right. And I had started multiple other businesses and tried to work away. And then I'm like sitting here, I'm like, man, as much as I miss that car, if I wouldn't have sold that car, I'm not sure I would be here right now. And then I think about it, I'm like, 5 more years and I'll have something even more fun. Like the season would change by that point to where then life will be hopefully, ideally better. And my kids will be older, so it'll be easier and more practical to have fun with my wife in it.
Dude, that's beautiful. And so you and I have learned a similar lesson, here recently. So I bought a '69 Chevelle off of one of the running backs from the Kansas City Chiefs.
Nice.
He's now, I think, with the Seahawks. So I met him up and, it's 2020, it's COVID. I'm like, bro, I need a toy. Like, give me something. So
the roads are empty. I have to do something.
That's right, man. So I bought.
It was nice.
Oh my God, it was amazing.
I buy this Chevelle. Like, it's beautiful, dude. It's legit. It's pretty close to being done. I'm working on it. I'm spending time with my own brother. And man, I love this car. I'm getting looks I haven't seen in a while. Like people are coming up to me. I got pulled over the first day I had it. Of course, I wasn't speeding. And so
allegedly,
that's what they all say.
Yeah.
What happened?
You've got experience with this, don't you, James?
Not at all. No.
I was like,
never convictions.
I was like, you sure I was speeding? And what's crazy is like, I didn't have the right tag on it. And the cop was super cool. He's like, oh man, I get it. It's an old car. I see what you're saying. He's like, yeah, I trust you. I'm like, all right, no insurance. He's like, I don't care, whatever. So it was very great. Jinx Police, thank you. Appreciate you very much. So
shout out.
The lesson I learned is every weekend I had this car, I wasn't spending with my kids. And dude, I was in this thing every weekend. I'm either driving it or I'm tinkering with it. I'm like, oh man, it's missing this. Let me do that. Oh, let me do this upgrade. Oh man, this is great. Hey, let me adjust the carburetor. And I'm spending the time with this. Now I am spending time with family because I have my own brother, my older brother. And so we're having a good time with it. But I had this dream. And in this dream, the car catches on fire. and it burns down the whole house and everything in it. Everything. And I wake up from this dream. And I'm like, man, what is going on? What is that? And it was like the most vivid thing. I mean, I still remember the smell, the way the car looked. And it killed me. And I'm like, clearly the car's not going to catch on fire. But what this car's going to do is cost me everything at this point in my life, at this stage of my life, at this season in my life. It's costing me everything. I'm not spending the amount of time I should with my daughters, and that's a big thing for me. I'm not spending enough time with my wife, and that's a big thing for me. Something goes out, and I'm pissed off at the car, and so I come home, and I'm like, man, I'm driving a thing. You know, we just did this, and now it's broken, so now I gotta spend tonight fixing it. And so what I did was, that day, I was like, I'm selling it. I'm selling the car. I'm getting rid of it. I'm over it. I'm done with it. I'm not going to let this car cost me everything I work for, right? Because if I go to zero tomorrow, guess who's going to be there? My family. No one else. No business partners, no friends, no people that are around that want me to take them out to dinner or take them on vacation or whatever. It's going to be my family. So I sold the car. The profit I made from the car, I brought it back and gave it to my wife and said, split it up and stick it in my daughter's accounts. And she's like, why are we doing that? I was like, it cost them me. So I'm going to take all the money I made from this deal and I'm going to give it to them. It's their money.
I like that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I've been riding for the last 10 years and I just sold my bike a few months ago and it's like killing me, but I know it's for a reason. I didn't have to. Yeah. It was a decision. I've owned it for the last 2-3 years. There's no payments. It's like insurance is like $30 a month on it. It's not a big deal, right? It's not a money sucker. It also doesn't necessarily take me away from my family. It's not like I go and ride on the weekends and choose to do that instead of hanging out with my boys or do whatever. But I've wondered if like things happen like that for a reason, like maybe it's keeping me alive. Maybe I could have been a wreck.
Don't say that because I'm trying to buy a bike right now.
Maybe.
You're in a different season.
You got no kids, bro. Go for it.
Different seasons.
Live it up.
I want another one.
Yeah,
as soon as I sold mine, I wanted another one.
So let me be transparent. Am I going to get another car? Probably supercar. Probably pretty soon.
You said you do high-end auto loans, so yes, at some point you will.
I'll probably have a supercar soon.
Let me know what you want. I got people in places.
Good. Let's connect. Seriously, that's awesome.
For real.
So,
100%.
But for me, and you'll probably have a bike too soon. But I mean, you're in the middle of you're building a business. You're doing things that your peace matters more than your fun right now.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is we're so quick to, because of, Uber Eats and all that stuff.
Say that again. Your peace matters more than your fun at this point in time in the season that you're in your life.
That's right.
Right. And so like whenever your peace is disturbed, you don't care about how much fun you're having.
That's right.
Like you need the consistency, the safety, the security, the blanket, right? You need the peace and nothing needs to upset that. And once you have the peace, then you're okay with like going out and figuring out what fun toys or whatever you can explore and travel and right. Oh man, that was cool.
I mean,
just clicked. I like highlighting stuff like that. When people
awesome.
Like make little things like I would say that I'm like, oh, perfect.
Because what I'll tell you is there's a lot of people I know that have toys, but they're not happy.
Right.
I mean, I got a buddy of mine that has the prettiest Lamborghini you've ever seen, and he's unhappy. He called me today and was like, "Hey, bro, can you come drive his car around?" I was like, "Why?" He's like, "I'm not getting enjoyment out. I need someone to get enjoyment out of it." And I'm like, no, it's yours. You bought it. That's a decision you want to make. You need to find a way to be happy. And so for me, peace is more important than money. Because there was a time where I had money and no peace.
Right.
And there was a time when I had no money and no peace, and that sucked more than anything.
That was living in the shit that you were talking about earlier.
That's right.
The mental state.
Dude, that's having $100, going to the grocery store and losing it and then getting it. And then shortly after that, my wife had to sell, which my girlfriend at the time, had to sell the rims on her car for us to live another week.
Oh yeah.
Like to me, that's crazy. Right? And so for me, I need peace more than I need toys. And so that's what you're at right now. And you have a toy. you have something new and shiny. You have this business that you're running, that you're getting up and going, and you're trying to make the right connections with the right people. You know, you guys, me being somewhat of an elder, and I made jokes earlier about me being old.
Which you're not.
Which I'm not. I appreciate it.
Don't you dare put that juju on me.
But the thing that I wish I had more of back when I was in your age range would have been people who had been doing better than me for longer than me, or people who had failed harder than I had, and I wouldn't have failed as miserably as I did. So I'm a big believer in like coaches, and I'm not talking like a life coach that's going to hold you accountable.
Like, hey, tell me I look good. Like, tell me I'm going to be, I'm going to go to the gym 5 days this week. Like, ask me on Wednesday if I've went already.
Right.
Like, that's not what I need.
So that's the thing is, so like I do a little coaching now with people, and I don't call it coaching. I just call it like, mentoring. That's right. And so when I took on my very first client, he was like, "Oh man, you're way different than everybody else." I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "Well, we set a schedule what I was going to do, but then when we talked this time, you didn't ask me if I did that on Tuesday." I'm like, "Dude, I'm not your mother.
Not your babysitter.
If you didn't do it, guess what? We're moving from step 1 to step 2. Yeah. You can't accomplish step 2. I'm going to know right now today that you didn't do it because the next step is here.
It's easy.
And then I'm done with you. Because see, it's like, I don't need your money.
Right.
I'm actually trying to mentor you to do well. And so I think we all need people in our life who actually care about us.
Yep.
And when you have a life coach, a mentor, someone like that fire you because you didn't hold your own self accountable, that's when you know, like, oh shit,
maybe I should do a little self-checking here.
I should do something first.
Yeah.
Right. And so obviously Instagram and Facebook and all social has got people who have never done a deal telling you how to do a deal in all different aspects of life.
They're like, hey, I'll do the deal for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, just pay me the $1,000 real quick.
Yeah, like all the FBA stuff.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, give me $50K and I'll get your business going. And so it's like, great. How much do I make? Oh, you may make up to $10,000 a month. And then it takes you 5 years to get there, and then it's not as great. And they don't have a store. Right. So I'm a big believer in having the right people around you who can help you, even if they're not in your industry, to teach you the things that you may not know.
So I think that's a great point you bring up, because here lately, Brad and I have started to build a pretty good relationship. This guy started coming around a little bit more too. And it's been fun because
you've missed the last 2 weeks.
Okay,
because of family.
I mean, in the last 6 months to a year.
You're good. I'm just playing, just giving you a hard time.
Hey man, it's cool.
Family stuff matters. That's okay,
dude. Family matters, and they're my piece, right?
There you go.
I can always appreciate it about him. He's a real big family guy when it comes to work family or his own family.
Yeah. It's
dude, I love that. That's
family.
big.
It's my people. But like I said, going back to that is, I feel like what I've started to notice between us is we have started to, and you brought that up again as you're our elder, and here lately it seems we are trying to do that more, and it's interesting because you meet different people, and frankly, you meet people you don't necessarily click with, and that's okay, because we were talking about that too before we went live, but the reality of you get connected with the right people, and the right people care about you, even if they're not in your industry. Brady and I have crazily gotten connected on business and on life here recently, and our industries don't collide like at all. It's completely different industries, but when it comes down to it, it's the same want for each other of, hey, we want to succeed, and it's different stages of our lives, different stages of our businesses, and completely different industries as well. But when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, we all check up on each other, and it's nice to be able to feed back off of somebody, because you came in, again, with sometimes you got to live in the shit, and it's great to have someone that's going to just and tell you that, hey man, we're just in that season right now. You'll be all right. You'll get past it, because as young guys, as you said in the beginning, you start thinking down on yourself whenever things don't work out the way you want them to. But again, that's just part of the season. Something's going to change at some point, because you have that full-hearted belief that at some point something will change, whatever it is, you know, and I like that you made the point of you got to associate with people bigger, better than you, in both the failures and the wins. My mom used to always say,
right here in your neighborhood.
Here's a little tale about hard to recycle plastics. Their destinies were changed. Their new lives are fantastic. What once was trash can live on as new things with a program that complements your regular recycling. 'Cause plastics can be so much more. Give this trash the second chance it was hoping for.
Your hard-to-recycle plastics can be so much more. Participate in the Hefty Energy Bag program happening in your neighborhood today.
what is it? Show me your friends and I'll show you who you are. And I hated
tell me
that.
who you're with and I'll tell you who you are.
Yes. And I hated that. I was like, you don't know this. Again, I'm sure we all said that, right? As
That's
funny.
teenagers.
Your mom's smart.
Right. Well, now that I'm older, I'm like, she's on the money right there. If you hang out the right people, those big problems aren't that big. You know, the right people will help you, guide you through those. So I think that's a great point to put out. It's just look at who you're associating with. And even though somebody's bigger than you, in your mind, they could be dealing with very similar issues or something else that you've already gone through and what you feel is a smaller scale.
Chance, were you here on the episode with Ashley?
Yeah.
And Stone? You remember when we were talking about finding a mentor?
Yes.
And trying to figure out how to do that? Did you feel like that you got to a conclusion on that answer?
Kind of.
Because like going to networking events and handing out what are the most common networking events are, hey, do you have any leads for me? Hey, how many leads did you bring to the networking? Hey, how many referrals did you get? Hey, did you just stuff your business card here? How many business cards did you bring and stuff out? Like put it here, put them there. But like networking, like, and I've said this time and time again, mingling, creating relationships with people. Like I met Sebastian through a speed networking deal. Have you ever done that? No. Okay. It's kind of cool. So like, let's say you move from one seat to the next and so on and so forth. You guys stay where you're at. Right.
I wanted speed dating. I loved it.
So it's basically speed dating, but for business. And so you've got like 60 seconds or 2 minutes or something like that. And so, Sebastian was the only guy that like the only person, guy or girl, whatever, that I actually was like, oh, cool. Like we connected, like we could like do business or make a friendship or whatever out of it. But that was worth it. So long as I go to an event that's similar to that and I can create a connection with somebody and carry on a relationship, then cool. It was worth it. Outside of that, I'm sorry. I'm just not going to pass out my business card everywhere because it's going to wind up in a pile or in the trash can. And bringing leads and referrals, if I got to bring 10 leads or 10 referrals to someone, it almost feels like a second job. And we've talked about this with like BNI and stuff. And more power to like a lot of those groups that they work well together. And maybe it's just the way that I've worked them in the past and just my personal experience. And I'm always open to like trying stuff again. But so where do you find? And you'll probably pitch on this, and I know you're itching. I can see it. He's like, I can't wait to pitch in on this one.
I'm ready for it. I'm just waiting over here.
So where do you find good people to make good relationships with, or where can you find somebody, and how do you go about that to like, hey, I want to do this. You know, I don't need you to like spoon feed it, but I just need someone to talk to and be like, I remember, try this.
So you asking me directly or are you asking Mason to answer first?
Well, you and me were kind of on the same page where we didn't get an answer, but
I'll just start very simply. In today's age, anything with social media, that would be the easiest way to find someone that you want to mentor. Because even if you don't have any access to anyone locally, you can just search on TikTok, search on YouTube, find somebody, spend 3 hours instead of watching some crap on Netflix. Spend 3 hours trying to find somebody that you enjoy to watch and listen to on YouTube or TikTok or Netflix or not Netflix, but, whatever. but find someone who you can genuinely interact with. Like you said, you only built one connection out of a speed dating round for business. Then you put more eggs into that basket. Find someone that you click with and then go after that. That would be my easiest way to suggest to everybody. But Mason,
dude,
do you have any?
I mean, I think that's good. I have a couple things for you. So,
Yes.
well, talking about these events, I stopped going to them. The reason why I stopped going to them is I kept getting drowned. Oh man, Mason, I heard you did this. Oh Mason, hey, you did this. Hey Mason, I want to do this. Hey Mason, I want to do this. And so I still liked going connecting, because my whole goal is when I go somewhere to connect with 3 people. I just went to an event 2 weeks ago, paid $1,000 to go to a dinner. And my goal
was it good?
I mean, it was rib crib.
For $1,000?
Yeah, it was like, just traditional barbecue.
Maybe it was good.
The barbecue was good, but
yeah.
It was a donation thing. And my whole thing was like, all I got to do is connect with 3 people. And I connected with 6, and it was great. And it went really well. And of the 6, 2 are going to be solid for me. And unfortunately, the 2 others, I'm going to be solid for them. And I say unfortunately because I wanted 3, and so I got 2, and so but I get to help 2 people. So what I did was when I started going to these meetings, and this happened to me this week, a guy wanted to meet me for breakfast. And I'm like, okay, great. I would love to meet for breakfast. He wanted me like 10:30, 9:30. I said, no, let's pick something different. I got other things. So we did 6:30 in the morning. Because if you want to come meet me, you got to meet me at 6:30 in the morning. You get Monday for first meeting. You either get Monday or you get Saturday morning, 6:30 in the morning. I need to know if you're real. I'm gonna need breakfast no matter if you show up or not.
Right. Right.
He didn't show up. And guess what? They never do. And when you see them the next time, guess what?
They did cower.
They don't even look at you, bro.
Yeah, can't make eye contact.
They don't do it. So for me, it's hard to go to these events because it's more of like me draining. And that's when I started doing okay, I'll do it, but you have to do these things. So I started giving people homework, and there's a lot of things I'm doing for people. So if you meet someone and they give you homework, that guy's probably the real deal.
Right.
So there's that. So I think that's big. I'm a big believer in meeting people through people. And I think that's the bigger thing. It's a better warm introduction. I met with a guy this week who's got like 2 million followers on Instagram. Can't say his name over here, but he flew in to meet with me through another connection. And the whole time I was like, man, why is this guy sitting here talking to me? And I didn't have to pay him. So I was super pumped.
Yeah.
But it's not that I don't know if him and I align very well. Super nice guy. I don't know if we align very well. I don't know if he'll be in my ecosystem.
Right.
But it's very cool to have the couple of hours to spend with him. So through that, I met him through somebody else. And so I like doing that. Now the challenge, I really do like the idea of Instagram, social media, TikTok. The challenge is, how do you know if that person's real or not?
It would kind of go back on the leap of faith. And then hopefully if you're going to watch someone for 3 hours, you have a little bit of knowledge, like, okay, maybe this guy's kind of bullshit. And I've heard this from someone else. Or, if it sounds more authentic and more genuine, you can kind of get a read on people,
Yeah. So finding a mentor, and I was actually having this conversation like a year ago. Finding a mentor, someone to have around you, is a very hard thing. You're basically asking a full-grown man to date you and to spend time with you.
Yeah.
His quality time. Is this, because one, he has to be smarter, he or she, let's say you find a female, they have to be smarter than you. Not in your business, just in the aspect of life and business. In fact, I would say, a lot of times you want them almost outside of your business because they see something different than you don't see.
Right.
2, you have to vibe with them. You have to be okay spending a couple hours. 3, you have to be okay with them offending you.
Mm-hmm. That's the big one.
And that's the huge,
being vulnerable, and being accepting to constructive criticism, and then knowing what to do with it.
Because it's not going to feel constructive when they call him like, dude, why are you doing that? That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. Why would you do that?
Or not even constructive. Fair enough.
Yeah. Because at times
honesty doesn't have to be polite.
Yeah, you need it. At least my personality is like, you need it.
Yeah.
Like I would rather have someone kind of yell at me a little bit. I'm like, dude, let's action.
I would too. Yeah.
So there's a couple different type of coaches out there, right? And life coaches and things like that, however you want to call it. Some are going to ask you questions. Well, why? And they're very stoic. Well, why would you do that? Well, how does it make you feel? And you have to decide, do you like that? Or do you like the guy going, okay, you did this, this, and this. I'm going to ask you why here in a minute, but here's why you should do it this way.
Right.
Why didn't you do it that way the first time?
Tell me why you didn't.
Yeah. Why didn't you cut your cost here? Why didn't you fire this employee here? Why didn't you do that?
Right.
And so, you know, when you really start to find the right person, they should really want to be all about you and your personal life. If they don't ask you who the top 5 people, your toxic people in your life are, then I wouldn't hire them. I wouldn't spend time with them. I wouldn't take any, because that's what matters. We talked about peace earlier, right? And you talked about what your mom said about being around the right people. That's true. I tell people all the time when I meet them, hey, let's talk about 15 people in your life, and they name them off. And then I start asking questions about every one of them. And then I find out who I think is a turd in the group. And I'm like, well, he's got to cut this guy.
Yeah.
He's got to stop talking to his mom.
Yeah.
His dad is super toxic.
Yeah.
His brother's like super controlling and wants to do better than him. And they have this pissing contest of who's better. They got to do something. And then I tell them, if you could pick 5 people out of this group of 15 that you didn't spend any more time with, who would it be? And they never want to pick. Or they pick the wrong people, and then you have to ask them why. But at the very end, you get down to almost the same 5 people. Now, sometimes something else may come up where there's some trauma there they didn't tell you about. But then you have to tell them, okay, moving forward for the next 90 days, don't talk to them. They text you, I'm busy. My schedule's booked. What have you? Stay away from it. And then let's talk. And then we're going to move on to something completely different. That conversation's done.
Man,
I'm going to
that's
trust
gotta be
that
wild to experience that.
It is.
Like, because you don't notice it until you've actually gone through the 90 days of not talking to those 5, 10 people or whatever it is. And then you look back and you're probably like, I feel it. I see it. There's something's changed in the wind.
You can feel the energy as soon as they walk in the room after that point.
Yeah.
You're just like, that's right.
Sometimes
that's why we stopped talking.
Yeah. Sometimes it's not following them on social anymore. Maybe you know someone who's a liar, they front, all that stuff. And it just drives your heart and soul crazy to see that person doing and saying what they're doing all the time. And as soon as you hit the block or unfollow button, like, 2 weeks later, you're like, dude, I have not been pissed in 2 weeks.
I'm having a good week this week.
This is great.
I got rid of almost all my Facebook friends, except for like 112. That's all the people on Facebook. Outside of that, like pretty much my TikTok and Instagram, you can follow me there. And anything I post there, I'm okay with the world seeing.
Yeah. So for me, Facebook, I've recently started adding a lot more people on Facebook. I spend a lot of time like showing pictures of my daughters because the world is super creepy. I don't show them on Instagram because my Instagram is fully open. And that's usually where like I talk about business and real estate and you know, I eat barbecue and I talk about barbecue all the time. So there's some crazy stuff.
He's like,
when are we going to get barbecue? That's all I want to
know. Well,
let's go next week.
I've got
too, for sure.
Yeah.
I've got a brisket, like a big one in my freezer. So the real question is, when am I going to smoke this son of a bitch? And when are we going to make some sandwiches?
Well, that's
you
like
live on Riverside, so
that's
you
a
can
tedious.
still smoke it for 6 hours.
It's
Leave
frozen.
at 10 o'clock.
Yeah. Well, it's frozen, so I'll thaw it till midnight, and then I'll smoke it till 6 a.m. and we'll eat it for breakfast. We'll make. Have you ever made brisket and eggs,
dude? If you're doing brisket breakfast tacos, I'm in.
Shoot, with like some.
You're gonna have to cut a
sriracha sauce.
Early. You get it out of the freezer.
Oh shoot!
Sounds delicious.
Call home, tell her to pull it out.
Yeah.
Babe, then you take that out of the freezer. Hurry.
So that's good, man. It's this is a really good conversation. Like this has had some really good depth to it and some good stuff. And I'm excited for all three guys. And if you're searching for somebody, I mean, I'm more than happy to point you in the right direction for people. There's people out there that'd be good for you that, you know, whether they're in branding, if you need someone in branding or whatever, just regular life stuff. And I mean, all three of you guys have a passion. I can tell. I mean, just hanging out with you guys, I mean, a lot of talent in this room.
Appreciate that.
I think when we're talking about these 5, 10, 15-year things, I think 5 years from now, you guys are going to be shocked where you're at in life. So it's going to be good. It'll be all good. I can usually tell.
I don't want to sound overconfident, but I completely agree with you 100%.
Dude, I'm the
my next
you
5
gotta
years.
vision it. You got to picture.
I already
you
have.
got to believe it.
And like I was telling him, like I said before we got here, we just kind of hung out for a little bit. And dude, like the last 2 weeks of my life has changed my life more than the last 2 years. You know, and coming off my family's company and doing my own thing, and it, you know, I wouldn't say shunned, but like nobody but really my mom has talked to me and my entire family since that happened. And I kind of expected it, which I was okay with. But I, like you said, you know, maybe you need to block out those 5 people, even if those 5 people are your family. That might be the best thing that ever happens to your life. And I'm just speaking, like you said, everyone has a $100 bill moment. I don't know if mine already has happened because I don't have a full scope of reality. But like I said, the last 2 weeks has been better for me instead of the last 2 years.
Is that a new shirt?
It actually is a new shirt.
I like that.
This is
fire.
This is a threaded V2.
Yeah.
2 weeks we'll have our workout line will drop 2 weeks from today. And 2 weeks after that, our fall line drops. And then after 2 weeks after that, our signature series drops.
You know what would be really cool is one day if you made a heavy duty wear, like brand clothing line for mechanics.
That's not a bad idea. Carhartt makes a great sweater.
I've got a couple good mechanics at BMW of Tulsa, so I can work with them.
That'd be cool, right? And it would align with what you do and your vision and all that and your products and
Where can you buy that, your stuff?
Threadedindustries.com. Yep.
Very
and
cool.
A portion of every sale goes to St. Jude. Our goal of our company is to be St. Jude's largest donor in the next 2 years.
So why St. Jude?
Why St. Jude? Personal relations with me and one of my really close friends. His son was diagnosed at 4 months and he turns 8 this year. So hasn't had to pay a dime. I mean, if he has to fly out to Tennessee to where their hospital is for treatment or anything, St. Jude puts him up in a hotel, pays for all that. He's in a better place now, so he actually pays for everything now. But for those families who don't have the money, I feel like St. Jude actually gives the most back to people in a very bad situation that no one ever would want, asked for, or anything. And then my sister. So it's just personal relations.
Dude, I love that, man.
Yeah, thank you.
I love that. Having that full scope of vision of life.
It's crazy. It really is. And it does take time. And it can take 40 years. It could take 20 years. It could take, I wouldn't say 10, but like anywhere between 20 to 35, 40, you're going to kind of figure out where your scope is and where your future is.
Mason, I think you'd also love that Audi.
Oh, yeah. It is a beautiful Audi. I'll show you a picture in a minute.
Okay. R8?
It's a 2016 A7.
Oh.
It's a full bolt-on, though. It's about as fast as an RS7, but none of the problems of the 4.8, turbo issues and all that stuff. Very, very beautiful car.
Very legit. I've got to see pictures of this thing, so that's awesome.
Is it a twin turboed?
It's supercharged.
Or supercharged.
Yeah.
Stage 2 kid stuff.
Stage 2 plus. So it's got, intake, throttle body, heat exchanger, exhaust. It's got everything done to it.
It's a bad boy.
That's so freaking cool.
Full custom paint, carbon everywhere.
So that's so crazy. So like I love like sports cars, and then like a daily driver, I've been driving Hondas.
I daily the Porsche. So
yeah, I mean I don't do that, but because I get dents and dings and like all the crazy stuff. And also like when you're a real estate investor, you go up to someone who's like selling a property, show up in a Porsche, like, yeah, I need $17 million for this.
Yeah.
Like, dude, the house is $37,000.
You kind of need to figure out where you need to present yourself to anyone.
You pull up in the Elantra, though, they still
that's
think
literally what it
yeah.
said. Oh, that's what it's about to say. Is that you're gonna pull up in an Elantra and they're still gonna be like, oh, well, this guy's got an Elantra.
It's got an, it looks new. It's nice. It's clean.
It's nice.
Yeah, he probably has money.
There's only a couple dents.
Yeah, dude, and 27 grand brand new, all in, limited leather.
Why wouldn't
roof?
You? Honestly,
yeah.
Great warranty.
I got a great deal on that.
I mean, I spent more than that in Vegas. Okay, in like a weekend. So like, I mean, I think it's a good deal.
Yeah,
for a car.
100%.
I like it.
The
Like
realizations
pleasure
of
is-
how things change as you have kids and you get older. He's driving around a Porsche.
I'm 26. I don't have any kids.
I'm not hating. Different seasons, man. That's all it is.
I
But
love it.
I'm in
Different
the same
seasons,
boat as
different
him.
story, different
Right.
expectations.
Right.
There's,
True.
I
Very
can't hate on what your story is like. Your story is different than mine. Like
exactly.
My last 10 years is different than your last 10 years, and that's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, but his truck's pretty flashy. The color of that
I'm
truck.
not-
It is.
I'm jealous.
It's beautiful.
His truck is sitting on BBSs. I mean, let's just.
It's a bad boy. No, it's a good looking truck. When I met him, I was like, man, that truck was clean.
I don't have HREs or BBSs on my
He called me. He's like, are you the guy over there in the Elantra? And I was like, hey, calm down.
Yeah,
chill down. Chill. It's okay.
So you were talking about how nice those Hyundais are. So my one day soon to be wife has a Santa Fe, and it's like 2019. It's fully decked out, like heated steering wheel, cooled seats, heated seats, like remote charger and all that kind of stuff. It was super cheap. 30. It was like 33,000.
Yeah,
almost
Gotta
new.
love the Koreans.
Like,
dude, I mean, I think pound for pound, the best price vehicle out there. My wife has a Palisade. Hyundai should sponsor me. That's all I'm saying.
Man, those Palisades are nice.
She got a Palisade. It's legit. It was like 48.
those are their new ones. Their new models.
It's like a Tahoe.
Yeah.
I'm
but
not
better.
gonna lie, it really is a really nice car. 100%.
I mean, my Elantra has its own, like, it's almost like a Tesla. I mean, it drives itself kind of. I don't know what they call it, autonomous driving.
Probably the adaptive cruise.
Adaptive cruise, yeah.
And
Where
it
you
has
pick
lane
your
assist.
yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I call it a
So,
Tesla.
The Porsche does the same thing.
That's so cool.
It'll speed up. It'll slow down. When it comes to a stop, all you gotta do is touch the throttle. It'll go back to whatever.
So that's what
it
mine
is.
does. So mine's almost like a Porsche.
Yeah, but mine's like 10 years old.
We're gonna call mine an Elantra. Elantra. It sounds nice. It's a Hyundai Elantra.
Sounds elegant.
I mean, yeah, the technology's been out there. I mean, it's just been more easily available to the companies that are smaller now.
Yeah.
And so, the Telluride, the Kia Telluride, like, why? It has no reason to be that good.
Yeah, so it's the same thing with Palisade. They're
Yeah,
pretty much
yeah,
the same
the
thing.
same car.
And you're right. You go drive and you're like, how is
why?
this car so good for $42,000?
Yeah. Like the Range Rovers at $200,000 are like, this is barely an option on this model only. And I'm like,
Are those Ford Expeditions 90 grand decked out?
exactly.
The Tahoes like 65, 100, and
Yeah,
the
100.
You're into
Suburbans
100, but if you get a
100.
high country, you're already in the hundreds.
It's insane. Like, I'm not paying for that.
Yeah, I think the most
Like,
expensive.
I don't make the money to be able to do that. Most common people don't,
Do
because the
not.
average income's like what, 50 grand for the household,
Like
60
But it's
grand.
ridiculous to think about how many people do.
Oh yeah,
Like,
because you see
it
them
goes back to
everywhere.
what he was saying,
Yeah.
fronting. People
That's
front.
what I was about to touch on. Is they appear to have that.
I do drive a Porsche. It was also extremely cheap because it's been in my family since like brand new. You know, I got what pretty much what he owed on it is
Right.
what I paid for the car.
Right.
36,000 miles, $36,000, February 2020.
It's a great deal.
Oh my God! Like, why wouldn't I? I had a 2020 wide body. It's kind of fronting on that one because the payments on the Porsche are cheaper than but cheaper than the Charger, a 2020 Charger, and I'm paying almost double what I paid for the Porsche a month.
Right. Wide body's legit though.
Thank you. It was amazing. I loved it.
But a lot of people are buying this stuff for a persona.
Exactly.
I have buddies of mine that bought Rolexes on payments. And anyone listening, if you're buying a Rolex on payments, you're doing it wrong. Like, you're not supposed to be doing that. You don't need a Rolex yet. You don't need a $1,500 a month truck payment. You don't need that. You can drive a 2015 Silverado.
That's still a really nice truck.
Extremely nice truck.
I know. But I'm just saying, you don't need the.
It goes back to my 2000 Honda Accord.
So that made me sound a little bougie. Sorry, but okay, you
2000
can have a
Honda, but it's
2010. You can have a 2010 pickup truck that's
15, 18 grand versus the 60, 70,000, $90,000 truck just because you think it's going to make you look better.
Right.
What I will promise you is when I go meet people, I don't look if they have a Rolex. I don't look at their vehicle. I look at the integrity of the man. I look at the integrity of the business. I look at the integrity of the life. I don't even look at them being erratic. Like if they're erratic and crazy, I'm okay with that. I like that. I'm good with
I
it.
could get the vibe from
So
you.
what if you've got bougie taste, but you don't do it for other people?
I'm okay with that too.
Like my office stuff is bougie. Like my coffee bar is bougie.
No.
But like, you know, like my truck is somewhat bougie, you know, but I don't know. I do like I like it. I love
There's a difference.
There's a
in-
difference.
Yeah.
Big
And-
difference.
and you'll
So
get that.
I say that to be careful to judge what other people. So I'm glad that you said what you said, though.
Yeah, no, it's.
I think what he's saying is he doesn't judge anything on those appearances.
Right, but
He
most people,
only-
a lot of people are doing that now
Of
because they're
course.
like, oh, you're going out and buying a Porsche because you know you're trying to impress me, and you're like, no.
I
You know?
genuinely love the way that car drives. I mean,
Right.
he rode in. He's like, oh, this is the first time.
But
I
then
ever
it's
rode in
also
today.
financially justifiable.
Well, yeah, it's
Right?
a giant billboard.
Sure. You know, I kind of laugh sometimes because I've seen Rolexes, fake ones, look nicer than real ones. Look nicer than real ones. And I'm like, they're like, oh, they're bright. I'm like, bro, well, that's not a real one. How did you know? Well, one, you just told me.
Yeah.
And two, here's three reasons why I know it's not. And I'm okay with that. There's wallets. Like this is a Louis wallet. Like these $580. Or you can go buy the same one that looks just like this that's kind of worn down like mine is.
For $20.
For $20 online. What's the best option?
I got a Coach wallet for $20 as a $140 wallet.
It's a great deal.
Yeah, it was on clearance. I was like, mine.
It's a wallet. It sets on your ass unless you want to like flex and put it on the table, which is not so much doing. I put my
Yeah.
box
Yeah,
in
it's
it.
fine.
So,
$20 from Express. Like,
yeah, which is great. So here's where I get to the whole like I don't look at that stuff because I've sat down with people who, last guy I sat down with, beautiful Bentley. I mean, a beautiful looking car. Now it's a little older. It's a 2012, but a beautiful car. He had a Rolex. He had some very nice shoes on. And as we're talking, we're digging into his business. And he's like, I need to find a way to make $10,000 a month out of my business. And I was like, you need to sell your car. You need to sell your watch and put those shoes. There's 3 companies you can put those shoes online. You need to sell those shoes. Why? You need the money for marketing. You need to start spending money on marketing. Well, why would I do that, man? You're making $4,700 a month. You're not $6,000 a month, and you're trying to get to 10. You need to eliminate so that you can find out what is your cost per lead. Didn't know any of his KPIs, like none of them. And I'm like, bro, what are we doing? Comes in looking like $1 million. And you know what he said to me, which is hilarious? He goes, well, man, why would I should trust you? You don't have a Rolex. Look at your shoes. Didn't you pull up into Hyundai? And I started laughing. And I was like, okay, I want you to pull up your bank account and I'm going to pull up mine and we're going to look at them together. And we did. And then I started teaching him how to run his business. It's that simple. And that was me doing a flex I didn't want to do, but I was like, all right, this guy's going to be a jerk.
Yeah.
Go to my Instagram.
measure up, yo.
Yeah. Yeah. We can play Big Bank, Little Bank all the time you want, bro. So it's wild. And then the last story I have on this, I go to dinner with some friends. I have a buddy of mine that's having a birthday party. I go to his birthday party and we start having a conversation about money. Am I going over on time? I'm so sorry.
What?
No. I was just going through. Don't worry about it.
So,
okay.
Sorry. So I go to dinner with these guys and we're having a conversation and we got in the conversation of $100,000 and it's his birthday. And I'm around people that I'm like, oh, these people have to have some type of money. I mean, we're setting at like roughly $300 a person for dinner, at least minimum, not counting drinks. And so I'm like, okay. So he's like, if I had $100,000 in the bank, here's what I'd do. So he tells a story and I'm like, okay, this is not good. This is not going the right place. It goes to the next person. And like everybody went around the room of what they do with the $100,000. And I stopped and I was like, it got to me. I was like, I'm going to ask everybody a question. Does anyone have $100,000 in the bank? And they were like, well, no. I mean, that's why we want to do this and this. And I was like, I want every one of you guys to reflect on what you said if you had $100,000. You talked about buying boats. You talked about buying cars. You talked about vacations. You talked about watches. You know what you didn't talk about? Investing in yourself, making more, letting that money ride. And I'm actually shocked that none of you have $100,000, and I'm confused by it.
They all looked the part to have at least $100,000.
I mean, I thought I was in the presence of a little bit more than that. And I mean, some of them were making great money per month. I mean, I knew 3 of them personally were making, $25,000 to $35,000 a month and didn't have $100,000 in the bank. Now,
business or personal, like, was that their money?
That they were making themselves was
yes.
personal. Yes, they were going through that amount of money. And I'm like, bro, you got 4 months worth of money.
And you're done. You're done.
That's
literally.
it. So it's just crazy to say that, like, that's why I don't judge people on that. I said it before. I think before we got started or whatever, I know people that make, 45 or 55 that are living great. I know people that are making, a lot of money a month that are not living great. And I know a lot of people in the middle. And so what I try to do is I just try to get people to understand what makes them happy. Is it cash in the bank? Is it cash flow? Is it comfortability? What do you need that's going to make you wake up on the first of the month? Like tomorrow when you wake up, what's going to make you feel good about October 1st?
Right.
It's National Coffee Day.
There you go.
Like today is National Podcast Day.
And we're doing a podcast.
Congratulations. I love this.
I made the cut.
You got right on the good day. Yeah, tomorrow's National Coffee Day, so I'll make me a pot of coffee.
So there you go. So for me, what I want to do is I want to wake up and on the first know how much money I have coming in, right? But I also like cash in the bank.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to hear so many different people talk about, oh, you shouldn't have cash in the bank because of inflation. I don't disagree, but you need some cash in the bank to make a decision.
You need liquid. You're starting to realize that now.
Yeah, liquid is huge, especially right now as the economy's starting to change and rates are starting to shift. I started to sell properties and do things and hold cash.
Everything right now,
which is such a great thing because you're going to come up on an opportunity that you're going to be able to get clearly because somebody else can't because they're too over leveraged. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I believe in leverage. I mean, most of my assets are leverage so that I can make that delta, the difference on it. But I have to have cash to make the right decision when things happen.
Right.
And so I try to, when I work with people and I meet people, is try to find out where they're at and quote unquote meet them where they're at. And then be like, okay, what is really your goal? And if it's this, then let's sell the watch. And I've told guys, sell watch. I told a guy on Monday, I said, sell your watches. He had 2 watches. I said, sell your watches. He said, well, I don't really want to buy them. I said, I'll make a phone call. Give me pictures. I took pictures, sent them over, made a call, said, boom, here he is. And guess what? I'm not going to charge you a brokering fee for him to buy your watch. He's going to bring you cash. I said, then you're going to take this money and you're going to put it here, here, and here, right? And for marketing and things like that, because he already knew his KPIs a little bit. And he said, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't let go of them. I don't want to do it. I said, all right, well, your business is going to suffer and you're going to suffer and you're going to slow down. And it's going to take you 10 years to get done what you can get done in 8 months.
Short-term sacrifice, long-term gain. That's nothing new.
No.
But
we talked about that multiple times.
Mm-hmm. It's hard to do it when it's in your face, though.
And when it's yours.
And when it's yours.
And when you like it and it looks cool.
Do you think I want to fast for 36 hours? I kind of screwed it up.
I do. I think you.
You know what? Do you know why?
I think you do because you got a goal for it.
100%.
Because you want that 6-pack.
I want to be in Europe and I want to be shirtless, taking pictures with my 6-pack. That's what I want. So I'm going to make the sacrifices now.
I want it bad enough.
Yeah, I want it bad enough.
I love it. I love it.
2.5 years ago, I was 265 pounds.
I don't mean to rush everybody. But I got to get out of here soon.
Oh, yeah. So,
sorry.
Let's go ahead and come up on some wrap-up thoughts. Chance, you want to start? What's you got one thought?
One thought. Come back to me, because I actually want this one to be kind of like
able.
Yeah, I want it to be nice.
Man, yeah. Frankly, I like how throughout this whole podcast, we talked about 100 things. My show notes are ridiculous here, but it all came down to one thing: integrity. Having integrity within just your life, whether you were at rock bottom or whether you're at where you are right now or where you were before prior to the crash, that integrity, if anything, it got stronger, as you got older, as you went through these failures. And I think that's a big thing to think about and to recognize that you have to have faith in yourself. You have to have faith in that one day it's going to work out. God's going to make it work out for you, the universe, whoever you talk to. But that faith comes from your integrity of what it is that you're really shooting after in life. Whether it is, like you said, whether it's money, that's fine, or whether it's, spending every waking hour with your kids and your wife, that's fine too. But the reality is, in the grand scheme of things, we got to pay the bills. We got to do stuff. So we have to have money, but there's a lot of connotation of it's bad. And what's come to realization is it's not bad, but it is a tool to get you what it is you truly want. So, and I think a lot of that comes down to finding out with your own integrity. We all have our own, version of what that means, but figuring out what it is in your life you have to do, sacrifice, change, or chase after to get to that goal. And I think the money is really just a tool and a vehicle to get to where you're wanting to get to.
It's just ones and zeros.
Ones and zeros.
And that the saying, right?
That's right.
Ones and zeros.
It's just another comma.
What's your show notes on this one? What's your one takeaway?
Man, the word humility kind of stuck with me throughout all this. Being humble. And it's so hard for any of us to do, whether you got 2 Rolexes and a Lambo and pretty toys and cool stuff, or, to some degree, I don't know, is humility related to sacrificing, right? Being able to humble yourself to be willing to sacrifice and follow through with it.
Yeah.
Right. Pride is good to have, but in the right places. I believe I have what I have now because I've taken care of, and I've taken care of my past, the things that I've had, the people that I've been with or made relationships with. I feel like that if I take good care of those relationships and take good care of those things, I'm going to be blessed with more. But like, how can I expect more if I don't take care of what I have? Right. So, have the humility to step back before you leap forward.
Right.
Like the rubber band slingshot.
Right. Mason.
Legacy.
Oh, man. that hit home for me, honestly.
It's about legacy.
Because that's what I'm trying to do.
The good thing about you is you're rebranding your legacy. You're rebranding your legacy with your new brand.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And like I said, the last 2 weeks, my one takeaway is going to be perception. Your idea of perception scopes your own reality. So, if it's raining outside, oh, this is a crappy day. You just told yourself today's going to be a crappy day.
You already said it.
You already said it.
I had this talk with my boys the other morning. It was on Monday morning, and we were about to go to drop them off at the bus. And I looked at them and said, "Hey, you guys are about to set the tone for the week. What kind of attitude are you going to have at school today? Are you going to be like, oh, I'm tired and I don't want to be here and I want to go home and play Fortnite and my friends are mean, I don't have anybody to play with and blah, blah, blah. And you sit here and complain. Or you're going to be like, man, it's Monday. I'm coming in. I'm going to have a good time at school. I'm going to learn something new. I'm going to make sure I treat my friends with kindness, care, and love. And you know what? And I said, if something happens today, it's okay. It's bad things happen. It's like, if this isn't a great Monday, I said, you have Tuesday. Make Tuesday your next Monday. Like I said, finish out the week strong on Friday and enjoy your weekend. But I don't know. I don't want to get stuck into the whole weekend mentality, which that should be one of our topics.
We could do that. Boom, cool. Write it down. All right.
All right, guys. Braden Cruz with Sooner Marketing Solutions, streaming live on the Blue Studio Instagram. I think my phone died, but
I'm not sure we're live anymore.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. So anyways.
Abel Rodriguez with ARC Outdoorsman, where we are creating and maintaining your outdoor living.
Chance Jones, Threaded Industries. We are a brand built to give back.
Mason Thatcher, Flip Tulsa Real Estate.
The last thing I remember, like, when I hit is, it was a big ass, like, boom, and I remember, like, going up. Only thing I was like, God help me. That's the last thing I remember before I went out.
Come on in this house.
Welcome back to the Navy Black Podcast. This is Big Boy the Boss, aka the money quarterback, making plays with the money. What up, Bit? What it do, everyone? Hustle hard and cut off all distractions. What's up, James?
What up, you guys?
What it do, man? We got a special guest in the building, man. Introduce yourself.
Kush, the one and only.
The softest spoken. It can't be a soft spoken already. Like we ain't been talking for the last 30 minutes and stuff like that. Who else we got in the building?
Miss Chop.
Okay, then. They both sound spoken. So how you been?
I've been good, you know. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, so tell us, like, you just told me this before the pod, where you said this is about to be a year anniversary of your accident. So,
yeah, actually next Saturday it'll be a year.
So how did it feel like from going to where you was at then to being a year removed? Did you feel like you could get to this point you're at right now? Because you walked in here looking very healthy to me.
Yeah, I am very healthy now, as y'all can see. But no, it took a long time. It seemed like it was gonna take forever, you know, to start back walking. Like, I was still in shock. Can't believe this happened to me, you know.
Was it more mental or physical? Like, that was the biggest thing you had to progress with?
Both.
All at the same time. So give us cause I don't know, like, what all happened in the accident. You broke your leg, or what was the details of the accident? Like, where did it happen? You know, all that.
What's the I don't know the road name, but it's close to here. Like, it's not Long Ponds, you know, like with a railroad track. Like, you coming up to the.
Is it Nazareth?
No, was it in Batesburg, Lexington?
It was in Lexington.
Oh.
We know Lexington.
Like,
I know it's somewhere probably around here. I mean, Lexington ain't but so big. But
like where U.S. Food and Do It Best said.
Oh,
you know, you turn left that road. You know, the railroad track. The railroad
I know
track.
exactly. I don't know.
But when you get where the lights flashing it, that little right there.
Yeah, it's
like where you can turn.
It's a red light now. Lights ain't even flashing there no more. It's a red light now.
It is. Well, yeah, right there.
I know exactly.
Like,
so it happened right there?
Yeah, that's why I ran out the road area right there.
So it was pretty late at night?
Yeah, I was leaving Schooners, like.
Oh, you was leaving Old Reliable?
Yeah. Like, it's crazy. I want to start off by saying, for one, can't nobody make me feel like this wreck was my karma. You know, God opened my eyes to everything I needed to see when I had this wreck that I had been ignoring. But, like, I was overworking myself, for one. Like, you know, I ain't got no kids. I ain't got no but time. You know, I had an easy job, you know, just getting free money, like working 7 days. So, like, the day before I wrecked, I had a dental appointment, you know, so I wasn't going to work the next day. So I was like, well, I'm going to go fuck with the bar. But I usually take a nap, but I ain't take no nap. Had been up running all day, you know, went to the bar. It was good vibes. You know, I could have rolled with my cousin, but I just planned to go have a couple drinks and go back home. But it didn't turn out that way. You know, the vibes was good or whatever. I don't even get like that. I was out of character. Like, I was shocked that I even, like, that's not me, you know, to get drunk where I can't drive. Like, it was just my sleep came down on me on top of trying to drink and smoke. Like, it was
your
nothing
body
I
is a
could do.
machine. You had been letting yourself just stretching yourself out. No energy, like no sleep or whatever. You go take a toll at some point in time. So you have the accident or whatever. And when do you first do you come to? Like, do you come to in the hospital or are you on the scene? You alert?
I was in and out, like mostly out, but I was in and out. So I remember like a good bit. But for one, I fell asleep in the car at Schooners. That's definitely not me. That was recorded. Like, that's why I said God used, you know, people in this accident, but he also used them to show me these ain't your real friends.
That's real.
You know, Mimi Porsche, you know, she was the one that pulled me out of the car. You know, she was the one that was there doing everything. But when I was asleep in the car, shout out to her, but yeah.
She pulled you out.
Yeah, you're right. But so I was asleep in the car or whatever. She came up, you know, recording me, waking me up. You know, if it was me and I see any friend, cousin, brother, it don't even matter. If I walk to the car and see you sleep in the car under the wheel, I'm taking the keys. You ain't even driving.
For real.
I wouldn't even be thinking to record. Like, you ain't even driving. That didn't happen. But I was in and out, so I crunk up the car. I swear, I thought I was good. Like, it's crazy. Like, I don't know. I really can't explain it.
So you was riding by yourself?
Yeah, I was by myself.
Okay.
Or whatever. So I crunk up the car and pulled off. You know, she came behind me. You know, she did do that. You know, she came behind me. I don't even remember, like, from Schooners till I got to that road. Like, I don't even remember going through the light. Like,
in a day.
Like, really, that wreck could have went so many different ways. You know, that's how I know, like, God was with me the whole time. Because luckily, no cars ain't coming. You know, I'm on the wrong side of the road. Like, my whole wreck was recorded. Like, I got the video. I'm going to show y'all the video.
Yeah.
But I got the video because she recorded me. Like,
driving off?
Like, the whole wreck.
Do you want people to see the video?
Yeah, I'm going to show the video.
Okay, we'll punch it in at this point in time right now.
Okay.
Yeah,
so she was recording me or whatever, you know, driving. You know, she said she wasn't recording. She was recording to show me how I was driving the next day. But I just feel like, you know, I know can't nobody say what they'll do at that time. I don't know. But I just feel like if it was me and I see how reckless that I was driving, I wouldn't have been thinking to record. I would have been thinking, you know, to pull over, trying to stop, wait, you know, if I'm falling asleep, you know, wake up, you know, like, recording me wouldn't have been on my mind the way that I was driving or whatever.
Straight like that, because like I say, if I was behind my bro right here and he was driving like that, I'm calling him.
You
like,
be caught, you know, blowing the horn or whatever.
What the hell going on?
I remember waking up, you know, like dozing off. I even had my window down, the musical. I had all of that going on.
But sometimes, like when you so sleepy, you can't help it.
Yeah, and I know I was on alcohol. I was on alcohol and I was smoking, but I was tired. Like I done drove, you know, high and a little tilted before, but I know it was that sleep came
all
down.
All those factors added together is like, you know, a bad mixture.
Yeah, so when I read, you can hear in the video, you know, she wasn't expecting me to read, I guess, but I don't see how. But, you know, luckily no cars weren't coming, but I went off the road, like with a curve. Instead of going around the curve, I just went on off into that little little bank right there. As soon as my car hit, it went up in flames. So she, you know, I'm out, but the last thing I remember, like, when I hit is, it was a big ass, like, boom, and I remember, like, going up. Only thing I was like, God help me. That's the last thing I remember before I went out, and I must, like, went unconscious or whatever. I remember her running to the car, you know, because I'm down in the bank, like, you got to come down, you know, the little hill. I do remember her coming to the car, you know, calling my name and stuff, you know, trying to see if I'm conscious. And I remember just going in and out, but I didn't get burned like from the fire. It was the heat that had got, you know, had them
So
started.
you was
getting
also
to me.
burned in the red.
Yeah, I was burned. Like that's something that happened to my arm.
Oh, that's a skin graft right there.
Yeah, I had to get the skin graft on my arm and my leg. Yeah, they took the skin from my thigh or whatever. But
how long was recovery?
I'm still recovering. You know, I ain't even 100% back yet. Like a lot of people look at me, they think that like I get compliments all the time. People be writing me, you know, and that's another thing. Like since this accident happened, I was just like, this something I feel like God showed me because people been reaching out to me like from places I ain't never seen before, talk to, you know, like telling me they can tell from the stuff I share on Facebook what kind of person I am, reaching out for advice and stuff, and I'm like.
Man, you making an impact. Like I say, you said.
That's what made me want to do the podcast thing. Like wanting to start one because I'm like, dang, is it meant for me to talk to people?
Exactly, that's cool because like something you went through, like I say, God put you through that situation for people to be reaching out because maybe you do have an impact on people that you don't even know about right now.
Yeah, and I just be being me. But
Exactly.
obviously I do. Like this one girl reached out to me. She was in a totally different situation from me. Like she was at a party and got shot by sitting in the car. And she was in the hospital and she was just reaching out to me and was like, hey, do you think I'm gonna walk again? You know, and I was like asking her what happened. She told me and I was just telling her like we got different, you know, giving her some encouraging words and stuff. And she was asking me like, how you still be happy, you know, through, you know, while you healing and stuff.
Yeah,
and
through the suffering and stuff. So how do you be happy through the suffering and healing process?
I guess that's just my personality because, like, even in the hospital, like, when I finally did get... Well, let me finish talking about the red first, and then I'm going to get to the hospital. But, like I said, she came to the car, you know, seeing was I unconscious. I went back out. I didn't know about her leaving me. Like, she didn't try to pull me out right then when she came to the car. You know, she just came to call my name to see was I conscious. But she ran to go see was other cars coming to get help.
Yeah.
I just feel like when you first ran to the car, common sense was to open that door. My door not locked. I didn't have no seatbelt on. That's another thing. You know, I could have went through the window. Luckily, I didn't, but I ain't had no seatbelt on. You know, she could have opened the door, pulled me out right then.
Yeah, everybody reacts different.
You know, that's why I said I can't say what people would do. You know, I'm just speaking for me. I just felt like that was common sense. You know, just to open the door, you see it's already in flames or whatever. I just felt like I wouldn't have got burnt if she would have pulled me out. Yeah, my ankles would have still been broke. Like I broke both of them.
I know. Both your ankles?
Both of them. So I was just, that's another thing.
How they say, how did you break your ankle? They just got crushed while you
They didn't break, actually. They told me that my ankles shattered from the impact. From how hard I hit. So, like, with my ankles now, I'm still missing pieces in my ankles. Like, one of them worse than the other one. Only one of them got plates and screws in it. So, that's why I'm trying to get used to walking on that. But
so, did you ever ask God why? Why me?
I didn't because he was showing me the friends I was around that I should have been around, overworking myself. Now, you can't do nothing. You ain't got no choice but to sit down. Like, even when I had done start, you know, getting on my walker a little bit, I had done, I'm trying to find me a little job. I said, man, I can go in the convenience store. So my mama like, sit your ass down. Because that ain't me. Like, I just couldn't do it.
Being your age, you were like, I'm in a walker. I don't feel like I'm supposed to be in a walker, but like, you in a situation that putting you in a walker.
In a wheelchair, for one, like.
How long was you in the wheelchair?
I still be in the wheelchair where I take it with me some places.
So your ankles like hurt bad to this day?
No, but you know, like I said, one of them got the plates and screws in it. It done been a year, like it's about to be a year, like the injuries I had, they shocked. If I walk into the doctor's office now, they be shocked every time because they like, it ain't no way you healing this fast, like with the injuries you got. And there was another thing, like in the hospital, I was graduating flows. Like I started off in ICU or whatever. That's when I woke up in the hospital because I had still been out. When I woke up, like the next day, like back to myself, and I just looked down and seen me wrapped up and stuff, like, I was real life like shocked. I was just like, what the fuck?
Right.
This shit
oh my God.
really? Like I was just still like in shock. You know, I ain't had no phone. Everything burnt up in the car.
What?
Or whatever. No phone, no wallet. Everything burnt up that was in the car or whatever. I'm gonna show y'all my car too after that. But all that was burnt up, so I ain't had no phone. Now I'm still shocked. Like I'm in ICU wrapped up like a mummy.
Who the first person you talked to that told you what happened? So did you know what happened to you when you woke up?
I knew I read. I knew little stuff that had done happened before. Like I said, you know, another thing, you know, she ran, you know, to the road to see was anybody coming or whatever. Came back, you know, she telling me to get out the car and stuff, but she don't know my ankles broke. So it's like I was going in and out. I just remember telling her like, don't leave me, you know, and stuff like that, just going in and out. Cause it's like, I want to move, but I really couldn't move. Like I was real life stuck. Like I'm dead weight, you know, like.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Your legs like that.
Like I couldn't feel nothing. It's like just if my upper body moved, like I ain't even know my ankles was broke or whatever. So
I know it. When I broke my hand, it felt the same way. I couldn't do nothing with my left hand. When it was broke, it's like it just was dead. It just I couldn't. I'll tell people I couldn't even grab an envelope if I had to, cause I just I did it.
Like it's crazy, but she didn't tell me this detail right here. I didn't find this out until after the wreck because she told it to her mom and her mom told it to mine. But say, you know, when she was trying to get me out the car and stuff, you know, I'm dead weight, you know, I guess she just was panicking, you know, you know, and just ain't know what to do. But say she sat on the hill and was just walking back and forth, like, you know, just looking like what I need to do. And say a voice got in her head and told her to come pull me out with all her might. And she came to the car. I do remember her, you know, wrapping around me. Y'all know how little she is, you know. That's why I said I know that wasn't nothing but God, because like her little ass and
got you out of there,
and I'm dead weight, you know, on top of my weight. So I remember her wrapping around me or whatever and just pulling me out. I fell out on top of her. She got me out the car. We fell in the hill. So I'm still out, you know, can't walk. Going in and out. I just remember trying to crawl up the hill, my nails breaking, you know, from trying to grip the grass, you know, to help her out a little bit because I can't walk. So it was just crazy. I went back out. I don't remember how she got me in her truck or nothing. Like I don't remember none of that part. But instead of her taking me to the hospital, she took me to my cousin Precious' house. Okay. You know, and she lived in that trailer park, you know, right there across the railroad track. But she took me there for her to get me and take me to the hospital. But I feel like the condition I was in, I should have went straight to the hospital. Yeah. Like, you know, when she was trying to pull me out, that's how my skin was coming out from her pulling me.
She was just nervous, though.
Yeah, she was just
nervous.
nervous.
I think she just like I said, in over her head, and not even in a bad way. Just like, who can even be ready for a situation to happen like that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You was nervous, but
I know what you mean, cause like, man, cause like, I know how exactly
like
how you feel.
Then we read by. We on 51. We read by the end of
get us to 61. Yeah. Off.
You know, but you know, you can't say what you would do, but she took me to my cousin's house or whatever, and it's just the stuff that was said, you know, after the fact, why I felt like God used her and to show me too, you know, I use her, but this ain't your friend. Yeah. But she took me there or whatever, and instead of her trying to help Precious get me out, you know, she was basically telling Precious, you know, that bitch heavy. I done did all the work down there. It's your turn. And had, I'm going to say his name. I don't care if y'all bleep it out or not. And she had you know, waiting, had no.
Yeah. Go ahead.
She had, you know, pull up, you know, like this after she got me in the car, which I don't think he helped her. I don't think he was there then, but he pulled up at Precious' house shortly after she got there for Precious to get me out. You know, she didn't help Precious put me in her car. Precious, they trying to stand me up. I'm steady falling because my ankles broke. They don't know. They don't know.
I know, because that made me hurting even worse because you're trying to stand
that's
up.
what I was thinking too.
Right.
But it's just the fact that instead of you, I can see you going to help, but you ain't even ride to the hospital. You the main one.
I feel like if I see some situation, I feel I'm just a part of it now.
You was a part of it. She told me she had to go get her kids, but she really went to go get fucked.
I mean,
like for real, like she really went, but she didn't want me. She didn't think I probably was gonna find out that detail or whatever. But it's true.
That's wild.
Some dick be out here potent though, man.
But no.
But still though, I still like before I even found out all this stuff. Like, man, only thing I was on with her, I was just like, man, I can't stop thanking this girl. Like I just kept telling her I can't stop thanking you. She telling me stuff like, quit saying that, like, girl, that's what I was supposed to do. Like, she ain't excited. Like, I just felt like that was a big thing you did.
But like, she doing her like humanly duty though. Like,
but
as
that's
a human,
not.
you
I
should
feel
do
like it was big because that's not you as a person.
Yeah.
So coming from you, when people hear Mimi Porsche did some good shit like that, knowing your character, you knowing your background with people, like. People jack like that's something good.
Because all people are good and evil, though. You know,
that's why I said you don't know. That's why I'm saying.
But it's like to a certain extent, like they say, quote unquote, she really did save your life, but she felt like at that point in time, that's her duty to get you to Precious. After that point, it was. But it wasn't.
It wasn't her duty to get me to Precious. Why would you get me to Precious?
Yeah,
that's not my mama.
That's true.
Like I'm bleed. Like I got internal bleeding because my liver was bruised and I had internal bleeding for that. Broke both of my ankles. I had the gash in my face, and you see my skin off.
Yeah.
Like, why would you? That's emergency.
So your skin. Oh yeah, that is so true though, because your skin was off.
Yeah, it's like my skin and stuff off. Like my hair, I had a pink bob in. My hair hadn't even melted. Like the heat was really getting to me.
What?
And I just feel some type of way because I feel like, you know, Mimi had family members that have been in a house fire. I thought it would have hit different.
Yeah.
Like it wouldn't even, I wouldn't even had to think about, you know, while you sitting there thinking I'm in the car burning.
Exactly.
You could be getting me out. Like while you sitting there thinking, I feel like that's why she left that out, you know, instead of telling me that came from her mama. But I still had been on, like, I got to thank this girl. I don't care if we ever get into it. We got to squash it. Like, you did something big or whatever until, you know, it's like when people go up and be like, you know, Mimi, that's what's up what you did for Kush such and such. She's saying slick stuff. I helped a little bit, or I need to get a hero shirt made with I say Kush on the back. It's like, that's weird.
Yeah. I don't know.
So I'm like, what she want me to do? Then she told somebody, you know, I acknowledge everybody except her when the accident happened. God didn't save her. I did.
I mean,
God
used her.
God used you.
Like, exactly.
Like, God
I believe
used you.
that.
That's why I said God used, you know, her to show me this ain't my friend.
Yes.
You did a good deed, but you still not my friend because of how you acting after the fact. Like, that's something good you did. You like, you should be happy.
But at the end of the day, I don't like the dude. Period.
But like, that's how she feels
I
right
feel
now,
a way
man.
about that. And then another thing, like with recording the accident, people hit me up telling me like, damn, cause that's crazy how you was driving. How y'all know? They got videos of the accident. She's sending out videos of the accident when it happened. Like, I ain't even know it was a video. I found out from somebody else. I'm like, this shit was recorded.
I ain't never saw it.
I never saw the video, but all of it is very disrespectful. Also,
that's like, disrespectful.
Because like, why you feel me? Like maybe it could have been my death. You know?
That's what I said. Like what if that would have happened? Like,
you feel me? Like, nah, don't film that. Like,
don't film that.
Like, I just think like maybe not. I don't. Maybe I do know who this is, but I don't know. I'm just saying it sounds a little immature because that's not a funny situation. Because life is life. Your life can be gone today, like you say. What Les Brown said, you here today,
like,
gone
the tongue
today.
Is powerful.
Like you got to take things serious because you never know. Like you reckon you swerving. That is funny. Like if it's on Grand Theft Auto, but in real life, you can pass away.
And, even though she said she wasn't expecting me to wreck, but you see how bad I was. You know this ain't me already. You see how bad I'm driving on the other side of the road. This ain't even nothing to record. Like I said, I would have been trying to stop, do something. But
I just say
it's like I know in your head, like you're going through a lot of things like mental and stuff like that. And in a way, like you didn't want to place like blame on her, and like you kind of angry about how she acting.
I'm not blaming.
She still did something great to even be there.
Yeah, and I still give her that credit. But for her to feel like I didn't acknowledge her, I put up a whole status. It ain't nobody. You was the only one there. Who else I'm going to acknowledge but God?
Yep.
That's the only other person that I was acknowledging about the accident. It's nobody else to acknowledge. You was there. So I'm like, what you want me to do? Kiss the ground you walk on?
I'm going to keep it real, though. Like, as a man thinking about women, y'all always want more. And she a woman, so she always going to want more.
But what more can you get?
I know, like, you really say
how we feel.
Like,
what more can we give y'all?
Get? Like, I was just trying to figure that out. Well, I'm already telling you thank you almost every day because that's just how I'm feeling.
She gonna always want more.
You ain't even looking at it like you looking at me like I need to quit saying it. It's confusing. It's weird. Like it's very weird.
Yeah, because
that's why
like,
I said.
I know I wouldn't feel weird. I mean, because I don't need appreciation for the things I do. But if somebody
something like that, I wouldn't really feel like I need appreciation. You gonna get it, but I don't need it because there's somebody in a position that they can die in.
Yeah.
I'm saving them. I'm trying my best to do what I can do.
I saved a kid when I was like 12 years old. He jumped in the pool in like 8 foot and he couldn't swim.
Yeah.
I jumped in and saved him. That's my good deed for life, right? I saved the life.
No, you have a good deed.
I don't need no appreciation, though.
Yeah, but if you know it's a good deed.
Yeah.
But you turning it into something. I know it's a good deed. That's why I keep telling you thank you because I'm glad to still be here to even tell you. Yeah. Thank you for what you did, but you turning it into something else. Like,
do y'all ever have like sit down conversations and talk about it?
I wanted to. Like, I tried to.
Once y'all come on here and talk about it, y'all can actually like, cause we feel like on this, it's hard for y'all to have a conversation in between y'all two and really get everything out. But if y'all was in here, you can get everything out because
you give you like perspective.
You'll feel like you'll feel like you can get it out in here. You feel me? It's like, why not? I'm here. Cause she gonna say something, you like, I'm gonna say what I want to say too. Then, boom.
Yeah, but we tried it, and
but
like really,
just had like somebody around and stuff, so like you can like actually like communicate.
Well,
and,
maybe
like,
she said they tried it already. Maybe it didn't work out. The conversation.
It didn't work out because
but y'all connected in a way because like you always gonna remember who saved you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like.
You'll figure it out. But I want to go back to it because you had this point. You said when you woke up and you was in the bed all wrapped up and stuff. So from that process,
I was in there all wrapped up and stuff. The doctors in there. I got them videos, pictures and stuff too because I was already gonna post all this. But my mama, nobody was in there with me. Like that's another thing I feel like. God showed me, like I say, everything I needed to see. Like, he just said, this is a road you need to take along. That's why, he took my man away. I was in ICU, the hospital up there, you can't have nobody spend a night with you, so I couldn't have nobody stay with me overnight. Had to go through the surgery, everything by myself. By myself.
Kind of like solitary confinement.
Yeah, and he let certain stuff happen, to open your eyes to things. Like, everything don't be for a bad reason. It be for to learn from. So
For real. How long did it take you to get the unwrap? So how many times a day or like a week they had to unwrap you?
Man, I had to get, it was, I forgot what the stuff called, but they had to keep it wet so it won't get stuck to the guards, getting stuck to that was I witnessed pain on so many different levels. Like, I had staples in me, like real staples, had to get them taken out, like with us. Like, it was just, I couldn't even believe that I was God gave his, toughest battles to his strongest people. He felt like I can take all that, and I took all that, like, by
Day by
myself.
day.
Yeah, like, the closest I had to call my mama, because, they couldn't spend the night. So, like, they coming in there different times of the mornings, 3, 5 o'clock, to change my bandages, wetting them. It was one night they was stuck to the gauze, like, stuck to my skin.
Ooh.
Like, I was showing out, so I was just telling them, like,
Screaming.
let me just call my mom on FaceTime. I had my mom on FaceTime, she just trying to talk me through it. They put in Novocaine, in my neck, because I had,
what Novocaine do? Numb you up?
Yeah, it supposed to numb you up, but it wear off quick.
It
so
was like a shot?
Like, they had an IV in my neck.
Ooh.
Because they had them blew all my veins out. Because I was in the hospital 20 days.
Boy, thinking about that, I couldn't even imagine, I had never been in the hospital one day. So, like, being at your age or whatever, having to sit in, like, I can't go home. I'm not
people
healthy.
don't understand. Like, that's crazy.
That's going through it by yourself? Going through it by yourself?
And
I feel
going through
like
that by myself, like, my mama was there now every time. I had visiting hours, but... but it was people that came and visit, Another thing, like, that helped me get through this, still keeping myself up, like, still getting my hair done, my nails done. I guess that's why people, when they see me, they probably felt like I was, how she handling that? I'm still keeping myself up because I'm not finna lose myself. Like, I'm gonna get through this, and that's what I did. Like, when I first came home from the hospital, I had Cole there, shout out to her, waiting to do my hair. I had Leandra there waiting to do my nails. All that. The first day I come home, all this done because
I'm back on the scene.
Be in this house.
Back to me.
Yeah.
That's so dope because, like I said, you have to get back to a regular scheduled program because if you don't, you'll get sunken in the sunken place. And like with you just coming back home or whatever, being yourself, getting healthy. How did that feel like now? Like,
and
semi-healthy.
I'm gonna start off by saying they did have depression. Doctors, like, that's a good hospital, the Patterson and Augusta, but they got doctors for everything. But I only had one depressing day in the hospital out of all of the days. Like, it was the third day that I was in there. I was good the first 2 days, but that third day I was just like, when I woke up, I was like, I'm ready to stand up.
Yeah.
Like, I want to get out this bed, and I couldn't stop crying. I couldn't stop myself. I was like, man, I want to stand up or whatever. So they had the depression doctor to come down there, to talk to me to see was I going through that. I got through that day. About an hour later, the therapy people came in there to show me how to get out of bed a little bit, to show me how to work a wheelchair. So I was like, there wasn't no but God. I prayed. I was like, I want to stand up.
Yep.
But I was able to get out the bed.
Yeah, that's what you really wanted to do.
I just wanted to get out that bed and move around. So I was able to get in the wheelchair to learn, how to be moving myself around in the wheelchair, eating the wheelchair. So after that, I don't know, like, I was straight after that. But
that's crazy, the different things you gotta learn, like learn to use a wheelchair.
Then washing yourself, that was another thing. Like,
somebody else was washing you at first?
I had to have, the doctors had to wash me and all. So there was another thing I was like,
that's
man.
Crazy as hell. I feel like I don't want nobody close to my
like
genitals.
A real baby. It's like you starting all over again like a grown baby.
Yeah, a big grown baby.
Big grown baby.
And you really, you just gotta deal with it.
Shout out to Cuz. Cuz was changing my.
So you had to have a diaper. Like, you had to have one?
I ain't have to have diapers, but I had to have a bedpan.
Yeah.
So, and I had to wear gowns because I couldn't have nothing on my skin. Yeah. So I had to wear gowns, so it was already easy, access. But, that was. Having to get washed. And there was another thing they was shocked. I was surprising the doctors. Like, I let them wash me or whatever for like a week. After that, I hadn't told them, just bring me, let me wash myself. They like, you gonna try to wash yourself?
Yes.
I'm washing myself from here on out. I was washing myself, didn't get the doctors to wash me or nothing. They graduated me to the neck. They was like, you get the. Oh, my words, give me some.
I missed my words.
Congratulations or whatever. You get to go to the second floor or whatever. So I'm like, okay, I get to leave out of I see you or whatever. Go to a second floor. I was on that floor for like 3 days. Moving to the third floor. Was there for like a week. They already hadn't told me if you get to the fourth floor, that means you about to go home.
Yeah.
So that's all I was focusing on, getting to that fourth floor.
So how was it using hospital for 20 days, like just seeing how a hospital work and move for 20 days? How's the hospital?
The hospital is crazy.
A lot going on.
Cold, like it's some doctors that care and it's some that don't. Like I seen that from being on different floors, going through the different doctors on each floor. It's some that care, there's some that don't. It's some that I had to keep mashing the button to come in here and wet my stuff.
Yeah.
They know they supposed to come, every 30 minutes to an hour. It was some that wasn't on them late shifts and stuff. So it's some that care, some that don't, but
so that's the thing you saw
they
about
do
the
feed
hospital.
you.
They give you good food.
They do feed you.
Because when I walk in the hospital, I always seem like they're getting pampered when you're in the hospital. It just seems like a social
yeah,
right there,
it really do. But
like everybody just getting everything done, hand, foot to them, just like a retirement home or something.
Yeah, I definitely salute people with them kind of jobs.
Yeah, he was working in the kitchen at a retirement home.
I definitely did. Shout out to the
He was wiping butt and stuff too.
But you can go over there you can look at just like your mama and stuff.
I know.
Vicious. You look just like your mama.
Everywhere I go, they tell me that.
She do though.
Like it's wild. We got a memory. Like you remember we used to stay at my grandma's house from time to time.
Yeah.
You and Ray and like your mama stay over there, and like we'll come there.
Ride the road.
We'll come there on Saturday mornings or whatever. Y'all will be there, just staying there. Like, look at that. That's my memory. Cause that's why I always felt connected to y'all. Cause we always saw y'all. We all so young.
Yes.
I remember like Ray being born and stuff. Like
being at K.L.P on the cheerleader teams.
And look at us not getting older, and that's what I'm saying with you and like the situations. Like God put you through something. So like what you saying, you want to start a podcast. Tell us about.
Yeah, I want to start a podcast because like. When another girl hit me up for advice for something that didn't even have nothing to do with the accident, I really felt like, dang, is it really meant for me to talk to people? Like this girl, I don't know. I looked at her profile, seen she from Colombia. I'm like, I know I ain't never seen her before, but she reached out to me and was like, hey, I know you don't know me or whatever. She was like, but one of my cousins gave me your Facebook and told me to inbox you because you can give me some advice on what I need, help about. And I was like, okay, what's up? And she was like, I got a boyfriend. He looking at 0 to 10 years and what I need to do. I'm like, what? It wasn't even nothing about my accident, but whoever recommended her to me, they felt like she hold her nigga down. She know. Go talk to her.
So how is it?
So
how is it?
How is that experience? Like having a man be sentenced to a sentence that like by the time you get to that age, you'll be an old
regular woman.
For one, it ain't for the weak or whatever. Like I be seeing them posts on Facebook. They be saying, if your nigga go to jail, you riding the slide. Them females be sharing that they slide. But you supposed to slide because that ain't something you supposed to do for everybody.
Yeah.
And like, they don't really know what riding is. Yeah. Like, just because somebody go to jail, that don't mean you abandon them. Like, they human just like us or whatever. But riding is not, they think they lifestyle. We got to understand it. Yeah. Like, you can only ride if you and the man got to understand it. They know your life don't stop. He know my life don't stop.
Yeah, since
he back there or whatever, but I'm here for you. Yeah. Like, I'm always going to be here for you. Like, that's all they be wanting. They be wanting to get mail. They just be wanting conversation, have somebody to be there for you. Like,
she here for him until she get a man like, not here for him.
And even if I did, we done had that conversation. Like, he know I'm only 28, like, I ain't even got no kids yet. Like, I'm still living or whatever. Like, we already done had that conversation, you know, if it comes to that point, you know, he just want the best for me. You know, make sure you have it by the right person if that happened. But yes, I will be hurt. I will be tore to pieces. And that's another thing too with me. Like, I do want kids. I do want to experience that. But I be having thoughts sometimes like, maybe I ain't having no kids. Maybe I'm gonna be the auntie with no kids.
Well, I mean, you
but I do want to experience it. But that just be some thoughts that go through my head
But
sometimes.
until you find that man that
like
you want to have
know,
kids with, then it gonna change up. You ain't got that right now, so why would you even want
like
it?
I just ain't thinking about it right now. So I'm just.
But if you found that man,
If it happen, I'm gonna
up,
be ready.
Yeah.
But I just be feeling like this sometimes.
I mean, because
like,
it's getting cold outside. You be needing that cover on.
Cover season approaching and stuff.
It's a little cold, you know, like a little spoon session. It's a little dick on booty.
Yeah,
it's
but
a little cold without that.
as far as with my nigga though, like shout out to him.
Shout out to Fresh. Like I said, I'm just
he be making them ones in jail be having more money than these niggas out here too.
We had conversation.
I talked to LJ and I was like, y'all come
LJ
on.
actually down there.
Yeah, I know. He told me. I said,
we want to get both on the phone.
Yeah, we were like, come on, y'all call in one weekend for the podcast. That'd be dope as hell. But have a little conversation.
He told me to do that today.
Yeah, just call in.
But
you can call him if you want to.
He got FaceTime.
Cause like we can put this phone, connect your phone to this device, and we can play it into the phone. We just have to put the headphones on so we all can hear it.
Right.
But shout out to him though. Like, even though he back there, he
tough,
still it is tough, and it was crazy. That's why I felt like everything was hitting me at once. I just had got out of the hospital like 2 days before he got sentenced. I couldn't go to the sentence, so I couldn't even see him in there before.
So did you ever get to see him? I guess he came to the hospital.
Well, no, he couldn't go. He was already in jail.
Okay.
He got locked up, when the other incident happened, trying to involve him with that, which it had nothing to do with that.
Yeah, I do remember that.
But his bond got revoked. Well, he FaceTime now.
Hey.
But I'll finish.
Plug him in.
You on the podcast.
Let me see. What's up, Fresh?
What up, my boy?
Same old, man. How you doing in there?
Shit, man, laid back, watching football.
It sounds like what we doing.
Chilling. Hell yeah.
Damn, it's really nice to see you, because like I said, we just having a conversation about you. I guess you'll hear it back when you got time. But it's like somebody we grew up with, and like knowing like the sad situation like you got going on or whatever. We can't see you physically, but it's so nice to see you through a phone. That's what technology has brought us. And
that's dope as fuck that we actually seen you. Because I was talking to LJ a couple weeks ago, and I was talking about you. Not pausing me though.
You still on there?
He probably had a car.
Yeah, man.
Well, how you been?
Like, shit, man. I ain't gonna lie. Like, really, it's a mental thing, man. Back here, you feel me? Like, if you ain't mentally strong, like, you really ain't gonna be able to make it. Especially when you talking about when them people getting you a lot of time.
Yeah,
it's a difference between just a little bit of time. Okay, at this amount of time you gonna be getting out. But then when they give you X amount of time, you like, damn, it could go like this. If I'm gonna get out, what I gotta do to get out. Like, you got so many thoughts going through your head, so you got to be mentally strong, and you got to balance it out. You feel me? Like, damn, all right, I need to do it like this. I don't need to listen to them. I don't need to listen to that. You got to block out shit. Like, it's just a lot. So that's why I said you got to be mentally strong. You feel me?
I already know it's a mental challenge.
You know me, man. I'm built for it tough. Hey. So you feel me? Like,
built for it tough. Dog.
Hey, I ain't saying I'm praising the situation, but shit, I know I'm coming home.
I saw you in the gym too, cause I saw a picture of you. I like no homo Fresh out there doing the push-ups.
Yeah, big out there.
Man, I'm telling you, man, like shit, I'm coming home, man. It's just all about having faith and knowing.
Yep.
You feel me? Like, if you don't got faith, shit, you really ain't got nothing to hold on to.
Ain't
For
that the
real,
truth?
though.
Like, if you ain't got faith, then what you got? You got to believe in something. I mean, what you gonna live for if you don't believe in something?
Exactly. What you gonna fight for? You gotta have something to fight for.
Something
Man,
like
I
that.
got my daughter out there. I got my old lady right there. You feel me? I got myself. I know my mama. I know she wanted to see me come home. She's still up there looking down.
R.P. Simone.
I know I'm coming home.
Yep. Definitely.
Yes, Lord.
You gonna touch down one day, and guess what? When you touch down, we'll still be doing what we're doing right now, and we're gonna have that conversation.
We're gonna come on and talk about
Man, I already know. I ain't even know y'all boys would get that many views, bro, because I ain't really been looking at a lot of them. I had watched a few of them, but yeah, Chris was like, yeah, them boys be getting 1 million views. That's
Nah, we ain't getting 1 million.
I did not say a million.
I know.
You might get a
one
big
day.
refresh.
We'll get a child with fresh. But hey, we want to chop it up with you for a second though, man. But I appreciate you talking to us for a little second, man. But hold it down in there, man. Like I say, you gonna make it home one day. Just stay safe.
Oh, yeah, man, for sure, man. Y'all boys keep doing y'all thing, man. That's what's up, man.
Appreciate it.
Yo, that's what's up, little podcast.
Hey,
Yup.
I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna call you back.
All right.
But yeah,
that's why the podcast you put it up. That's why the podcast so dope though. You know, like you actually can like do stuff like that.
And now on the back end, people about to hear fresh talk. Cause like a lot of people probably ain't even heard his voice or whatever. Cause like I say, my most memory of Rope. I mean, I say Rope because he part of that memory. It's fresh. Them boy, when we was in Sand Hill one time, and like this when Rope had he had a white car or whatever. Like
I know that.
Them boys pulled in with Part Like a Rock, started pumping so loud, and it got there. It was fresh on top of the car, on top of the car, riding in, just jacked it. It was the most epic entrance ever. Like it's like
you know, CB would I pull up.
Yeah, well, it's so tight because them boys like say 50-50. Them boys like they really like. They live, how they was living. They was doing their thing because they always, I remember like Fresh was in my, think about this. This is why I always say this so why to see, think about Fresh being in school. But anyway, Fresh was in my PE class or whatever. And him and, you know a guy, Marcus? His name Marcus Allen. He Gervais' cousin or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, they was in my class or whatever. Puppy was in that class too. Them two used to go to class like 10 minutes late every day. What they hopping like, just go to the office. We ain't see him again.
I already talked about it.
Shout out to Fresh.
They come late again. They got my class, man. Shout out to them boys.
But tell them about evolving.
Yeah, I've been thinking about like reinventing yourself because like what we've been doing, like building a podcast and our photography business, like 3 years ago we wasn't doing none of this. It's like now people know us for that, and that's like just reinventing yourself with skills. Like what kind of ways you want to reinvent yourself?
I don't know. Like, I know a lot of people got, like, testimonies. Like, I already been thinking about, like, the name, like, a couple guests I want to, like, start with. Like, one of the people is Jacu married.
Yeah. We was talking about having him on one day, like, when he, like, healthy or whatever.
Because of what he been through.
Yes.
Like, he another one I feel like a chosen one. Like,
because I had saw him, like recently, right before the accident happened or whatever. It was crazy to me because I walked up on him, I was like, I ain't know you this tall, like, cause
he grew after high school because he was so long.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But like I say, I would say this. Well, most days when your first pod, like I say, we got it. We'll do it for you. No charge, none of that. Just let us know. Say that you set it up, whatever you want to talk.
Yeah.
Whoever you want to talk to, we'll be here to edit it and like produce it for you, so you can make it a good.
So you guys see how it is or whatever.
Yeah, make it happen.
So like, what's your podcast be about? What you want to do?
Like anything, like any topic. We could talk about. We could have sex topics.
Yeah, at the dark, late night special.
We can have late night special.
Then you have an OnlyFans?
I had a couples.
Okay.
I was doing it with my man.
Man, one video I saw, y'all was like in the pool. That was the funniest shit ever. We
We used to be wild.
Wait, just humping her from the back or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. Like that's my dog too. Like
just had fun
besides,
together.
like we used to have fun together. Like that's why I said, if I could have been active for my birthday, I would have been active. You know, whether he here or not, because he already know me.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna do, whether he here or not. So we got that kind of understanding. And he had, my gift sent to the house in Florida. Like he really shocked me with that. Like I wasn't expecting that. We all in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
They telling me somebody coming to the house with me. I'm like, who the hell? Who?
I gotta learn some game from Fred. Goddamn.
I like that.
Boy.
You
I
called
go
the
to the
address?
damn door and shit. The man had done left my flowers because it took me so long to go to the door. Because I'm talking like, who coming to which I'm thinking they got some of their sleeve like a strip or something to come in here. I did not think about Fresh sending me nothing or whatever, but he had been, chopping it up with them and getting the address and stuff. And I went to the door. It was roses, a bear, candy, and all kind of stuff. And I was like, damn. I was shocked.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That just show you like who really appreciates you, because like the small things, in my opinion, like is what works. Cause like small things add up, but like the small things really mean the most, in my opinion, too, though. Yeah. But hey, Taylor, we always ask this question on the pod too. Who was your high school crush?
High school. Child, why you laughing like you know? Come refresh
we want to
my
know
memory.
her. We want to know her too.
Yeah, you definitely got to say her too. You on the pod, you got to.
Who you think? So I can't
say mine.
Oh, you gonna say yours? You first.
Y'all
though.
know who it is?
No, I don't know who you tell us who it is.
I don't know who your high school crush was.
You said you know. High school. Like.
Well, you ain't had no do that. It ain't gotta be a
I
guy
know,
that
I'm
you
trying to
had.
think.
You gotta be a guy that's like, boy, I would love to
Like
have
for
talked to
example,
him.
my high school crush was Sierra. You feel me?
He never talked to her or whatever.
That just was my high school crush.
He was the cornball to her.
Yeah, I was the cornball to Sierra.
Girl. My high school.
Look, she got a little nervous. I don't know. She might still want him.
Yeah,
No, I definitely don't want him. Nah, like it was high school.
Yeah.
You know what I did? It was Tez.
Teasy,
okay.
Like
Teasy.
it was like
Okay.
it been a long. I was
Yeah,
young. It was
that's
a
how
long
it's
time
supposed to
ago.
be.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like it was Tez. I don't know why,
Teasy
but
had
now
it. Yeah.
I definitely do not look at him like that.
I know.
Yeah,
It's
but
fine.
it's cool. But that's what I'm saying is high school. Like it could be somebody that was in high school 30 years ago. Like we ask the same question because like it's high school. Nobody ain't trying to get their high school crush anymore. And
Like Mally said Fatima. I don't know who that is, but that's who he said or whatever.
Yeah.
And mine was Chantal.
Did we ever ask Jern who it was?
Yes, you did.
Who it was?
No, you didn't.
Yes, you did.
I don't remember
I
yours.
said Katrina. Y'all
Oh yeah, it was
yeah.
Katrina. It was Katrina.
Who was yours?
I had two though.
Good job.
I had two,
Yeah,
though.
pick the mic up. Pick the mic up.
Grab the mic.
I had two though.
You got two.
Katrina and Ashley Jeff.
You got my
Boy,
cousin.
I know,
man.
boy.
Give a damn about that.
Miss Chop.
You gotta talk to the
I'm
mic.
gonna apologize in advance. My high school crush was Tyrone Nicholson.
Mr. James backwards. I know Mr. James backwards. Mr. James backwards. Shout out to him, man. Yeah. Apologize at the beginning. Please. But like, see, there's nothing wrong with that though, because like I say, we've been removed from high school for so long. It's like there's nothing wrong with it. It's not like you want that person now. It's just like affinity you had for that person back then. Like how much Ted is so much older than you. He's like he 1 year older than us. We 4 years older than you. So he 5 years. So like you supposed to be attracted to somebody that's 5 years older than you. Like you can't even never be around him. You never be in school. Like damn, he do look good or whatever. He's the way this little Warren Moon jersey, like this blue Warren Moon Oilers jersey with some red Dickies or whatever with some Apple Boy. Yeah, it's be fresh ass outfit or whatever. But like I said, he always had swag back in high school, all that stuff.
Yeah,
I don't see him too much now, but back in high school, yes.
You like you wanted.
Nah. Teasy was one of those guys. He was one of those. He was one of those guys back in high school. Like you look at his swagger or however he dressed. Like I do like that.
Yeah,
it makes me craft mine even better because he's doing it good. So now I'm the freshest guy.
Okay.
Another thing with this accident, like I noticed, like a lot of people been trying me since I got in the accident. Like
trying you in what way?
Like I ain't never been the type to be in no kind of drama or nothing. Like you know, I'm always bringing the vibes everywhere I go. Like if you hear Kush, you don't never hear nothing negative for real.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But it just seemed like since I got in this accident, it's just been. I don't know. Like, I just had an incident, you know. I don't care if the name get bleeped out or not, but, because, I mean, this fast, what happened.
You can say it.
But, me and Chop, you know, went in Walmart or whatever. I usually get on the little riding carts when I go in Walmart, because, that's a lot of walking.
Yeah, I understand
Like, I walk or whatever, but I do get tired, you know, because I got to get back used to carrying my weight around.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
So I get on the little riding cart, so whatever. But Walmart didn't have none this day, so I was just like, I'm gonna push the buggy. I'm gonna just push it. So it was me and her 2 kids. Like she was in front of me, but I did notice she kind of got behind me. But I'm still pushing the buggy, you know, talking. But she was getting her kids, but she also noticed, coming from self-checkout or whatever, and she don't like me for whatever reason. It's like people coming out the woodworks that got a problem with me. Like I don't know, but she coming from the self-checkout or whatever, so I'm pushing the buggy. Like when she get where I'm at, we like where if somebody's stealing, you know, the thing go off. That's where we was at. So when she got at me, like, she looking at me mugging, like, I'll bite your nose off. Like, she ain't saying nothing, but she just looking at me like that. I felt like if I wouldn't have said nothing, you know, or just act like I ain't see her, kept going, you know, she would have kept walking. Yeah. But I still ain't say nothing, but I just looked back at her like what the fuck you looking at? Why you looking at me like that? And why did I do that? So when I gave her the, you know, the little look like, what the fuck you looking at? She stopped and was like, you really shouldn't be rolling your eyes and you handicapped.
See, like, people, that's...
So,
we were ready for that joke. She was ready to hit that joke.
She was ready, I know that's what's coming, but it's crazy because I already done prepared myself. None of that don't move me. Like, I already done prepared myself for that because that's all y'all can say. Yeah. Like, it don't bother me because I know I wasn't born like this. Like,
but even if you was, like, just me.
Yeah, but
I feel like you can't even live your life about other people's opinions, though. Because like you got a bigger purpose because you really been through a trial and tribulation of a situation, and now you through it, and like you say, now you can do bigger like, things.
Like
and
reinvent
I noticed,
yourself.
Like it seemed like people hate how other people fuck with you too. Yeah. I see that too. Like you ain't even got to have a lot. How other people fuck with you, you know, like people hate that too. That's another thing that I noticed, but
so like you got a lot of friends and stuff like that. You got like a social network.
Well, I mean, I don't got a lot
you got like
of
a social web of people you be around.
OTF now, only the fam.
Only the fam. But
like for real, you know, since this like my eyes open, I'm not ignoring nothing no more. He done showed me what I need to see. Like I don't need to ain't no beef with nobody. It's just some people can't go in this next season.
Nah, that's the truth though. Some people
that's
just for this season.
Like I wish everybody, but you know, I'm just trying to elevate.
Some people,
like my eyes open. Everybody ain't on the same level. Like since this done happened to me, I feel different in certain surroundings. Like I said, I drink now. I do still turn up or whatever, but it be a little different. It's something off. I guess because I know I really can't get like that, you know, because I'm still like this, so I can't do too much, you know, because I'm not 100%, you know, back. But
your knees ain't like making a stallion.
Yeah, them knees, they still here, they coming. Yeah. They still here.
Exactly. But do you First of all, do you get to therapy? Do you go to therapy about what you went through?
Yeah, I did go to therapy. I don't go to therapy no more because the same therapy that I was doing, like, I could do it at home.
Okay.
Like, they got the same kind of therapies on TikTok, the same exact stuff I was doing, and that's expensive.
Yeah.
But the therapy people don't even know I'm like this. Like, the last time I went to therapy, I had my boots on. Like, they don't even know that I'm even. So I really did this by myself. Like,
so you
at
working
home.
on
But
it.
I am going.
Well, how about your mental therapy? Because that's weighing on you even more. Probably because, like, you just, I know, because you say you don't question nothing, but, like, you still, like, you see, every morning you wake up and you reminded that, like, man, I did go through something traumatic. And, like, I can't change it. I just got to continue with life going forward. But, like I say,
it is better now. Like I used to still have little flashbacks and, you know, like, somewhat like dreams, but it's better now. Like, I don't know. I guess because I don't know. Like, I must be strong. Like, people tell me that all the time. Like, you strong. I guess because I don't know. I still be positive. Like, I thought positive through the whole thing. Like,
so you spoke positive.
Yes.
And you guys speak it, believe it, receive it. I know you about to say the Deontay Wilder line or whatever.
Shout out to my mama too, because she was the real GOAT. Like,
just being there to support.
Yes, like, all that she did. I had to stay with her, you know, because I couldn't stay by myself in my own place. So had to stay with her. She had me a room fixed up at her house when I got there, feed me every day, breakfast, lunch, dinner. She got to put me in the shower. There was another thing when I finally was able to get in the shower, like in a shower chair. She had to put me in the shower. You know, I'm teaching myself how to move from the chair to the, because I had them start getting aggravated waiting on people. Let me get something to drink. Got to wait on somebody to go get something to drink. They might got to use the bathroom first before they go get me something to drink. That's another thing. Depending on people is another thing. Like I said, I learned patience. So, on a whole nother level, it's just been.
So when people really be saying, like, I gotta teach myself to, like, walk again, what that even means? Because like I say, you done lived it. I just see you say what you mean because you already know how to walk.
Because, you know, like with babies, they got to find their balance. You know how you got to find your balance because when your weight was growing with you when you was learning how to walk. Now I already got all this weight that I got to put on my legs that I ain't used in so long. Like, I ain't even think that I had done lost weight. To me, I didn't, but looking back at my pictures and stuff now, and looking at me now, I'm like, I really did lose weight, but like my legs got smaller, but that's because you wasn't using them. So your calves,
the muscles ain't used exactly.
Yeah, so you got to get back used to carrying your weight on them legs. And learning how to step. You get in your walking pattern. Like, in my mindset, I thought I was finna get up. I got a video of me.
You walk.
I got a video of that too when I took my first steps. When they cleared me to walk. So when I took my first step.
You stumbled?
No, I was on the walker. I used the walker or whatever, but it's just, you think you finna get up and know how you supposed to walk, but you really got to find your walking pattern. Like, you really do.
It's something your mind forget. Like, take them steps, huh? Every little step I take. Go ahead.
You got to.
But we about to get into a session we call Cup of Thoughts, where we get questions out of a cup and we answer them. We ask your thoughts on the question.
Just random questions.
I know.
How would you describe yourself in 3 words?
Number 1, humble. Capital H-U-M-B. Humble.
Were you always humble?
Yeah. Okay. That's me. Like, I really am. But that humble, independent, strong.
Humble, independent, and strong.
That's good 3 though. Good 3 qualities.
But I mean, as black women, I always want to be so strong.
They want to be strong.
Yeah, I mean, ain't even that. That's just me. In the bloodline.
The bloodline. Bloodline. Jerry, what's yours?
But you know I had a word to say, but I ain't gonna say it. And you doing around with it.
Oh, I say strong. I'm gonna use the humble.
And a word that rhymes with May.
And I don't know, man.
Dependent.
Yeah.
Bull.
Fuck it. I can't. That was a hard three. That's a hard three. I gotta think about it.
He dependent bull. Yeah, I mean, you know, he's
Dependent. Right. I know what you meant though.
Well, me, I'm gonna say I'm consistent, most definitely, and I just I'm hard. I forgot what I was about to say, dog. I'm consistent.
You go away like that.
Yeah, I'm consistent, and I'm a little quacious. Like, I'm bullshit. I don't even know what that word means. Talk a lot.
Rhymes with hey.
Yeah. But I'm consistent. I feel like I'm very loyal. I feel like, yeah, I'm that, and like I'm trustworthy. You can trust me. But like with your life, I feel like, because like I ain't putting you down no road that's gonna take you. I hate when these people want me to give them answers that they want me to give them, and saying like you can go down the road that's gonna take you down to a bad way. No, I'm gonna say I ain't doing that. I don't want to do that. That's not good for me. That's not good for my health. Like I said, me personally, I ain't the type of person that want to go out to the clubs too much no more, because I don't know how other people gonna react. I'd rather sit in the crib and watch football or watch a reality TV show.
Love after lockup.
Watch it.
Like, how about you, Miss Chop?
Go on, give these people your 3 words
that describe you.
I guess I'm kind, too kind. Sensitive.
Crybaby.
And loyal.
Okay. You gotta be that. You gotta be loyal to the people that loyal to you.
Mine would be I'm handsome, intelligent, and creative. I'm a very creative person.
You came up with that last night.
Just now. It very much describes me, right?
He wrote that question.
You said, what were you 3?
Handsome, intelligent, creative.
1 out of 3.
Thank you.
You said you left conceited.
Huh? No, I had posters on my Snap, so I hope y'all can see my Snap and start looking at what I post. I'm not conceited, not cocky. I'm confident. That's all it is, man.
Confident.
That's all it be.
Yep.
Imagine doing the unthinkable.
Oh, Gemini.
Being me. Nobody can't be me. Nobody can't be the
Y'all
unthinkable.
Geminis?
Oh,
Yeah, we Gemini twins.
The real Geminis, though, because you know the Gemini is like a twin, right? It's like that's the
Yeah.
So we real
True.
Geminis, you know. Like other people that's not twins.
Because I got that's what Fresh is, a Gemini.
Yeah, Fresh is Gemini too.
But he a fake Gemini.
So what?
Like, you know,
I don't know.
What is a Gemini to you?
Like
what's the
they
characteristics?
say, and I have witnesses, but you know them Geminis got split personalities. You know they can like a light switch.
Yeah, but when you twins, I have one personality. He get one.
See, it's different, but when it's one person, that's a Gemini.
Split, yeah.
Maybe so. I can believe that though.
I believe it.
Well, y'all true Gemini by offset there, because y'all twins. So y'all
I'm more.
Yeah, so it's crazy. It's too.
Psych.
Yeah, so it is like that.
was
One
crazy.
person.
But you feel like you know, experiencing with a Gemini, you like personality, like
like it really switch. Like you can be 1 minute bad.
Yeah, so
I believe it.
I don't really get angry though. Like I guess sometimes it be like
Aries
some
top of the
weird
zodiac
shit.
though. Don't forget it.
Huh?
Aries top of the zodiac.
Aries
you
are
say so.
Yeah.
They ain't even here. Y'all hear the playback what he did in there. Well, I don't know. A Gemini.
Got this question though. Gemini, I came here to get managed. Ooh, I know it's okay. Would you rather have kids in your 20s or 30s?
She ain't got much time.
You
So
gotta
she
make.
better. That's a hard question for her.
Your 20s, about gone. 30s.
Yeah. Me too. I don't have a kid,
30s.
so 30s for me.
30s, because I'm still, not saying I can't do it with, a child, but I'm still, and I'm glad I didn't have kids, like right now, especially going through this. That would have been even harder, like having kids, going through recovery, going through with the daddy,
Yes.
that would have been.
Oh God, that'd have been. You'd really feel like, God, why am I really?
It sound like you would have had the support though. So
yeah, but still though, the kids gonna need the support from their daddy there.
Yeah.
And mom do.
But it take a village to raise kids. So I mean,
everybody don't got a village. You got one.
Most people I know, even including
some people really don't have a village.
Yeah, some people don't. You're right. Some people don't, but a lot of people do, and they just don't realize how big the village is till they put in certain situations.
That's true. Yeah, people help you out though. People definitely help you out.
I definitely didn't, because it was people that was donating, putting stuff together for me in the hospital. Cash out was going off. Like just people just hit me up, what's your cash out? I want to see. I'm like,
because
dang, it was a lot of people.
It's real support.
Yeah,
Cause that what life about to me is like helping your fellow quote unquote brother or your fellow sister, helping those in like in any kind of way capacity you can. Like I say, if you can send a bottle of water, give them a bottle of water. That's all you got. But like it's all about. Cause I love when I'm in the grocery store or whatever, and there's a lady on the aisle where you can just tell she looking around like, man, there's a man come by me, please. I just need something on the top shelf, and I can help her get it off the top shelf, and I just keep going about my day because they be asking like, can you please get this for me? Like, why wouldn't I get it? It'd be terrible if a man walked by like, I ain't getting that shit for you, woman.
Yeah.
Short man, he can't do it. I mean, that's his problem. Yeah. Y'all like short men? I mean, Shia always been. Shia seems like she just always been interested in hood niggas. Yeah.
No, it's not. It just seemed like that because I've been with this one hood nigga for a long time. Been since like young,
That's how life was though.
It's just I've been dealing with the same person since I've been this age. Yeah. So that's why it's a long time instead of being
you really
different
just
people.
had like one person really in your life. And it seemed like serious. Like really taking it to that level.
I mean, you still had them on and off times.
Yeah, on and off times.
During
you young, you have
growing,
fun.
we were still learning each other. Like
black women cheat, so
like I was really nobody wasn't expecting the youngin, to sit him down.
Yeah,
to pipe him down. No, for real though, like.
Sometimes, I mean, we'll just have that conversation with Jerns though. Sometimes, like, it's unexpected because, like, when I did hear y'all was together, it's wild because, like, the age difference. But, like, sometimes you need someone like you to be tame at his age or whatever. Like you say, you set him down.
But you wouldn't have thought that because I'm younger than him. But
yeah, that snap over there, man.
Yeah, that too. But but my mindset, it was that too. But my mindset was different. A lot of females allowed him to do stuff, run over. I wasn't playing that. That ain't going down with me.
For real though, all women say it though, but you probably just had a great ass connection and you was fun to be around. That's
I was able to bring that out of him. Like he did stuff that you wouldn't even think like this nigga be doing, but you wouldn't have seen that with nobody else. I brought it.
So you saying you held him accountable, but do women hold themselves accountable? Never.
I do.
I don't believe women hold themselves accountable. Women, I mean, I feel like women
Fresh
hold
gonna call back.
They're like, women don't hold this accountable. He gonna love that. But like, I feel like women, they don't. Even if they wrong, they don't even like saying they wrong or whatever. So they're just like, let's just brush past. I don't even want to hear about it no more. Then if I'm wrong, I don't want to hear about it.
I can get
they don't
like
want to address it.
But I'm working on that.
Yeah, but some
that's. I understand.
Because everybody make decisions. Sometimes if your decision wrong, it's just wrong, and you just made the bad decision. Next time you'll get it next time, champ.
But some people don't even like to say like they messed up and like they just made a wrong decision.
Yeah, they don't want to address it because they don't want to be wrong. But you gotta take accountability for your wrong decision.
Because think about your decision.
You are not always right.
You have to take accountability for what happened, what's transpired. Because only way you can get in a car accident is getting in a car and being in an accident, right? So like you had to take accountability for that.
Yeah, I never blame nobody. You know, like I said, I just felt like God let this happen to me to open my eyes and to sit me down.
Yeah. So did you appreciate when back in school they used to be like, don't do drugs today? With the DARE program. You right. They told you not to do that in school now. They never told you just say no.
Just say no to drugs today.
I just thought about that. When we went to prom.
Everybody like, just say yes.
Yeah, just say yes. But
all y'all had y'all shirts, man.
Green shirt. They showed y'all that video.
Same color weed.
Look at you now. They showed you y'all video back when we went to the promo with it was a video like this car crash. You remember when they had to show us that video? Like we had to go to the auditorium.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, man, nobody want to see that sad ass shit.
Yes.
Some people get killed at the prom though.
Yeah, but it'd be good to watch because like now with the people that I be around now, you know, and we turning up and stuff, like I be the one telling like for real now, that junk serious, like y'all close to me. Like, this hit home. Y'all better take this. That junk serious. That drinking and driving. Which it wasn't just that. It was the sleep, too, but still.
But still, like, but they would say, they would check your alcohol or your blood alcohol level and say.
Man, like, I seen the videos of how I was acting that night, like.
Talking about at schooners?
In schooners, like. On the pool table.
Twerking. Oh, like, so you were having a great night.
I was having a great night.
Carefree.
Like. Yeah, so, man, my mom and them seen that. They thought someone was putting my drink. They had the hospital to test me for everything, but it wasn't under my system, but marijuana. But if you would have seen how I was acting, like, you would have thought.
So you was just a free, like, and that's what they say.
It was that I been working myself so long, so when I finally had a day off the next day that I knew I ain't had to go to work,
the weekend.
I hadn't been enjoying myself, hadn't got carried away on top of being tired. Like, I feel like if I would have got some sleep, I probably wouldn't have read. I would have been, you know, drunk, but I would have been able to get on
make
home.
it home.
But that sleep, like I'm eyes open, window down, like it's man.
Like I say,
you cannot stop.
That's why life's so precious.
For real, you cannot stop.
Like one day you can just take that trip. Like you done took that trip so many times. Not saying it's good, but you know, you drunk a little drunk, and then driving back home from school.
But I don't be the drive. I always have a driver. Okay. I don't drive. Like everybody know that. Like
now or back then.
Like for real, I don't drive. Back then too. Okay, if I know I'm a drink, I always have a driver. I don't ever be.
Because you learned though.
It's a lesson learned though. You know, all of us go through. It's just life or whatever. You gotta learn the lessons and you grow from it. It's all about growth.
Definitely done grew.
So 5 years from now, how far you gonna be done grew? Where you gonna trying to be at 5 years from now?
Not here. Like I'm trying to be somewhere. I don't know.
But like you say, like I said, you said that again. I want to go back to that. I forgot in the point, but you're saying you don't know. Like we were talking about evolving. When you trying to evolve to, I feel like it's all people. I say the light at the end of the tunnel. You gotta know what the light is. You know, you can't just say you don't know. You got to kind of know where you trying to head to, or you'll never get there because you don't know where you're going.
Yeah, I mean.
That's something you gotta really think about.
I have been thinking, but I don't really too much speak on it because I know people can pray, you know, on your downfall.
No weapon formed against me shall prosper.
Yeah, and I do believe that. But
because like people can say whatever they want to say, but if you putting that work in, they just gonna keep getting mad.
Yeah, but I like to just pop out with stuff.
Yeah,
like not speak on it, just pop out because they think you here. They think you doing this, you ain't got no motion, you know, you just stuck here. And then when you pop out, they like, dang, she got this going on.
Got that going on.
You're moving silence, like lasagna.
Yeah, moving silence. That's what I be on.
So, okay then. So tell us a person or somebody that you feel like you want to see sitting in your seat, us having a conversation with.
Well, you already had said her name earlier, but Rennie is one of them.
Come on the podcast, man.
Rennie one of them that I was thinking about. But
man, come on the podcast. We want Rennie.
Yeah.
We most definitely want Randy.
I saw on Bubba Snap and some green the other day.
Yeah.
Looking thick delicious. Hey, what you said? You want to hit the South Carolina and get some, trying to find Randy, man.
Yeah.
Trying to find
Like
Randy. Thick one. I like a thick one. Me
Thick
too,
one.
man.
With those skinny hoes.
Huh? He can't fuck with those skinny hoes. Well, little baby said he likes skinny women.
Hey,
I mean,
you know.
I like a girl about like 5'2", 125, 130.
Fun size.
Man, I like a girl that size.
Yeah, we know you
Fun
like your
size.
wife, man. We know you love your wife. We know you love your wife, man.
We know.
But like, nah, man, I like all type of. I think all women are beautiful, but like I say, black men don't cheat, man. You know, so like I just focus on the prize and focus on getting the
He
money.
might not need to get into that.
Yeah, he one man that like I know won't cheat. Like he's so
Yeah, that's
love his
good.
woman.
Like,
It's so good. I was like that in a relationship too. I'm not in one now.
So why you not in
It
one?
shouldn't have been no problems then.
Cheating?
You would think that, you know. You would think that, but you know.
Yeah, true.
You can't find the women you looking for.
It's hard out here in these streets, man.
You say you want attention, but you say you don't want to apply pressure unless you getting attention.
Yeah, no, I need the energy to be right. Like I like to converse, you know. So like if I ain't feeling the conversation, it's hard for me to keep conversing and even like go on a date to actually like feel really my vibe.
Yeah.
Cause I'm really a vibe. Like you gonna have
it
a
really
dope ass
be-
time.
Yeah, you gotta go out.
You feel me?
It sound like you don't like to put too much effort in.
Yeah, until like, cause not over text messaging and stuff like that. Ain't a real big test. Like if you get in my vibe, you gonna be like, damn, this dude amazing to be around.
Yeah,
'Cause,
you
like I'm
can
gonna talk
just
about
meet
shit like that.
somebody and they vibe be everything. Like
Yeah.
you been knowing them.
You feel me? And everybody feel like that around us. Like when we talk like that ever, but it's like we've been talking for our whole
Yeah, that's
fucking
why I
life.
said when I came in here, I was like, it's a vibe.
It's very vibe. That makes me
I
smile.
created it. I sound shit.
What?
No, I'm saying. I was saying for myself or whatever.
I know, like, but I need to shut up, shot.
Shut up, shot. But do your social media Miss Chop first, so people can follow you and stuff.
My Snap is Miss Wit 17, MSWHITT 17. Facebook is Chopwit, CHOPWHITT.
Her dreads ain't Chop, but she call herself Chop.
Boom. Bon.
I just tried, man.
Your social site.
What is
Kush.
mine? Oh, my Facebook is Kushaya Nars. That's where Kush came from.
Yeah, Kushaya. Yeah.
For real, because a lot of people think marijuana like
Yeah.
as soon as they hear about it. I'm like, my name Kushaya, for real. But and Snapchat is KNars688.
I guess I'll go. You can follow me at YTwin because on Twitter, Instagram, you can follow me at Hassan_guy on the Snap. Do y'all know what Hassani means in Swahili?
Who?
Do you know what Hassani means in Swahili? Because I'm Hassani_ guy on the Snap. It means handsome, and I'm that guy.
True, I learn something new every day.
I just try to teach lessons.
Twitter at DJeremy Gant. Snap and IG Jeremy_Gant.
And you can follow me on Twitter and IG at the Money QB. Go to my Snapchat, fine ass twin. You'll see a fine ass nigga. My dreads fresh again this week, but hey, be a doer, man. Got to bring value, man. You go to Navy Black Podcast YouTube, like and subscribe to the videos, man. Show your boys some love. We've been out here trying to put in work. Speak it, believe it, receive it, man. To this day, you feel me? Go to the website, NavyBlackPodcast.com. That's where you can find our pretty faces and you can buy some merch. Also, go to the Navy Black Podcast, Twitter and IG at Navy Black Pod. Y'all like how I do this, man. I mean, it's kind of hard, but somebody got to do it.
Nigga said
I am Navy
it's
Black
pretty
Podcast.
face.
Pretty face.
Pretty face.
Wow.
I can't help on pretty. I be that pretty motherfucker.
I guess.
Thank you, Shia, for coming on again, man.
Shia, your special guest was Kush.
Kush.
Thank you.
Thank you for my special guest was Kush.
The one and only.
The one and only.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.